Chapter 2252, Alchemy Saint Elro. 2. A Genius Grandmaster. At this moment, the crowd suddenly realized, and their gazes turned to Wang Ting in astonishment. What did Alchemy Saint Elro say? Han Zhu was a Grandmaster? Didn't he say that his mining skills haven't reached the Grandmaster level yet? Why did Alchemy Saint Elro call him Grandmaster? Countless doubts arose in their minds, leaving everyone perplexed. Hengzheng Mo, Guizhong Yang, and there were even more shocked. This guy was a Grandmaster? Yizhong Xinyuo and Shozong Tsayun, with a hint of surprise in their beautiful eyes, looked at Wang Ting, and ripples of waves emerged in their hearts. Even Grandmaster Yun Dang felt incredulous. How could this black-haired youth be a Grandmaster? He couldn't tell at all. Alchemy Saint Elro. Wang Ting bowed at Alchemy Saint Elro silently. He didn't expect the Secondary Career Alliance to send an Alchemy Saint here. It was a great honor. He didn't know that the news of his alchemy achievements had spread to the top echelons of the Secondary Career Alliance. Now, quite a few people knew about his alchemy skills. Of course, this was only limited to the upper echelons of the Secondary Career Alliance, mainly among the few people familiar with Alchemy Saint Dao Yuan. The 7-star Sage Pill was another reason. The reappearance of the long-lost ancient pill was worth a visit from an alchemy saint. Grandmaster Han Zhu, I've heard other alchemy saints mention you many times. One have always wanted to meet this genius in the field of alchemy. I didn't expect you to pass by the 5 burial stars. It truly delights me, Alchemy Saint Elro said with a smile as he blinked at Wang Ting and shook his hand, offering his support. Wang Ting couldn't help but smile when he saw his subtle expression. This Alchemy Saint Elro was quite amusing. He wanted to conceal his identity, so he had the members of the Secondary Career Alliance cooperate, but unexpectedly, they sent a crafty old actor. It's my honor to be remembered by Alchemy Saint Elro. I am truly delighted, Wang Ting said with a smile. Alchemy Saint Elro smiled and said, one just didn't expect that not only do you have outstanding alchemy skills, but your mining skills are also so profound. You flatter me. One just got lucky, Wang Ting quickly shook his head. Guizhong Feng and the others exchanged glances with one another when they saw Wang Ting and Alchemy Saint Elro chatting happily. Their hearts turned cold. Damn it. There was no chance. This 7-star Sage Pill was undoubtedly going to the Secondary Career Alliance, and they had no say in the matter. Do you plan to give this pill to the Secondary Career Alliance? After chatting for a while, Alchemy Saint Elro spoke seriously. Yes. Wang Ting nodded. The Secondary Career Alliance needs this pill, and one won't hesitate to contribute it. Good, on behalf of the Secondary Career Alliance, I thank you. And for your contribution, the Secondary Career Alliance won't let you go unrewarded, Alchemy Saint Elro assured him. Grandmaster Yun Dang was speechless when he saw the two of them deciding on the ownership of the 7-star Sage Pill within a few sentences. All his efforts were in vain. Knowing it would turn out like this, he wouldn't have wasted so much effort. Seriously, why didn't Grandmaster Han Zhu tell him earlier that he was a member of the Secondary Career Alliance? It made him unnecessarily nervous for so long. Grandmaster Yun Dang's face was filled with bitterness, unable to resist the urge to complain. Family heads, does anyone have objections to Grandmaster Han Zhu giving this pill to the Secondary Career Alliance? Alchemy Saint Elro turned to Guizhong Feng and the others, asking casually. Guizhong Feng and the others were filled with unwillingness, but they had no choice. The other party was a Grandmaster from the Secondary Career Alliance, and giving the pill to the Secondary Career Alliance was reasonable. What could they say? Could they stop him? That would be openly opposing the Secondary Career Alliance. Well, it seems that this 7-star Sage Pill is not destined for us, Yizhong Bai sighed. You don't have to be like this. If we can recover the formula for the 7-star Sage Pill, you are welcome to come to us for alchemy, Alchemy Saint Elro said. Yizhong Bai and the others exchanged glances, shaking their heads involuntarily. It wasn't easy to derive the formula from a single pill. Alchemy Saint Elro's words were more of a polite gesture. In that case, I'll take my leave. Alchemy Saint Elro smiled slightly, waved his hand, and stored the crystal containing the 7-star Sage Pill. He was ready to leave. Farewell. Guizhong Feng and the others gave a slight bow, seeing Alchemy Saint off. "I'll see Alchemy Saint Elro off," Wang Ting said as he followed. The onlookers watched their departing figures with extremely complex expressions. Who could have expected such a massive turn of events? It almost broke their backs. Guizhong Feng, Yizhong Bai, and the others shook their heads in disappointment. After all the effort, they still failed to obtain the 7-star sage pill. There was nothing they could do to Wang Ting, as the sacred pill had been taken by the Secondary Career Alliance and was beyond their reach. Hongzong Mo, Guizhong Yang, and the others had mixed feelings, looking at Wang Ting's departing figure with their thoughts drifting. "Stupid brat." Guizhong Feng slapped Guizhong Yang's head and shouted, "Why are we gambling for no reason? Such a good thing, but it ended up in someone else's hands. I've lost big time." Guizhong Yang felt wronged. What did this have to do with him? Who would have thought that the other party would find such a rare item? Initially, he thought he had struck gold by finding 12 billion worth of yellow spirit gold sand. Little did he expect that compared to the other party, it was nothing at all. Chapter 2253, Alchemy Saint Elro. 3. Has that counselor arrived? After delivering his reprimand, Guizhong Feng inquired. Guizhong Yang, seeing that he had truly angered him, didn't dare to retort. He could only shake his head and said, "I haven't seen anyone." "He hasn't arrived yet." Guizhong Feng furrowed his brows, finding it somewhat strange. "This is inconsistent with the information we received. He should be arriving soon." "Perhaps he encountered some delays on the way," Yizhong Bai suggested. "Let them continue waiting here. Sooner or later, he'll come," Yunzong Xiao said calmly. "All right, you guys continue waiting. Notify us immediately if there's any news. Do you hear me? Don't cause any more trouble for me," Guizhong Feng scolded Guizhong Yang, casting him a stern look. "Understood." Guizhong Yang took a deep breath, feeling extremely frustrated. Regarding Guizhong Feng Han Zhu, try to interact with him more. If possible, establish a good relationship with him, Guizhong Feng advised. Guizhong Yang and Hongzong Mo were exasperated. They didn't get along with that guy at all, and now they were being asked to befriend him. "Rest assured, Aunt, one have a good relationship with Brother Han," Yizhong Xinyuo said with a smile. "You've done well." Yizhong Bai nodded approvingly. Fortunately, her niece was more sensible and didn't cause trouble everywhere like Guizhong Yang. "My relationship with Brother Han is also good," Shozong Tsayun asserted, unwilling to be outdone. "Very well. Establish a good connection with him. If possible, recruit him. It would be very helpful for us," Shozong Liao said, casting a glance at Yizhong Bai. "HMPH, Xinyuo, don't disappoint me." Yizhong Bai glanced at Shozong Liao provocatively and smiled at Yizhong Xinyuo. Guizhong Yang and Hongzong Mo felt even worse. Yizhong Xinyuo and Shozong Tsayun had obtained the approval of their elders. They couldn't say anything and couldn't do anything. If they provoke the other party again, they might even be punished by their elders. Guizhong Feng and the others didn't say anything and left the Five Burials Hotel directly. "Damn it." Hongzong Mo punched the table beside him, causing it to collapse. "Watch your temper. This is an item of our 5 families, not just yours," Shozong Tsayun scolded angrily. "I can afford to pay." Hongzong Mo choked, almost unable to catch his breath. On the other side, Wang Teng and the Alchemy Saint walked out of the Five Burials Hotel and arrived at the entrance. They glanced at each other, both revealing a sly smile. "Did I play my part well?" Alchemy Saint Elro asked using voice transmission. "Alchemy Saint Elro, thank you for this. I didn't expect to trouble such an alchemy saint his time," Wang Teng said. "The 7-star sage pill is an ancient and lost pill. It's indeed precious. If I didn't come, it would be challenging for other Grandmaster figures to suppress the 5 major families." Alchemy Saint Elro shook his head. Wang Teng nodded thoughtfully. It seemed that the influence of the 5 major families was even more formidable than he had imagined, to the extent that even an alchemy saint valued it so highly. "Grandmaster Wang Teng, you've come as a counselor of the Academy Arbitration Association. Be careful," Alchemy Saint Elro reminded. He held high expectations for Wang Ting. A young alchemy genius like him would be a tremendous loss if he were to fall here. I understand. Thank you for the reminder. Wang Teng expressed his gratitude. No need to be polite. One just happened to come out for some fresh air. Alchemy Saint Elro smiled and added, if you can fully comprehend this 7-star sage pill, one hope we can exchange insights. With that, he placed his hand on Wang Ting's hand, discreetly transferring the 7-star sage pill back to him. No one noticed that the pill had returned to Wang Ting's possession. Rest assured. If one can truly decipher the formula, one will share it with you, Wang Ting said. Well then, I should leave. This place is for you young folks, and I'm an old bone that doesn't fit in here. Alchemy Saint Elro chuckled, patting Wang Ting on the shoulder before boarding the flying car parked nearby. The opulent flying car swiftly soared into the night sky, disappearing from Wang Ting's sight. Wang Ting gazed at the night, turned around, and walked back into the Five Burials Hotel. The night behind him seemed to transform into his backdrop, with a brilliant future ahead and deep darkness behind. With the pill in hand, it was time to plan for obtaining the 5 burial token. Chapter 2254. Did he fool him too much? Poison Boar Race. 1. When Wang Teng returned to the banquet hall, the family heads had already left, leaving only the younger generation. The expressions of those present changed slightly when they saw Wang Teng return. This black-haired youth not only possessed astonishing mining skills but was also a grandmaster alchemist, signifying a significant and complex identity. Ordinary martial warriors dared not show any disrespect in his presence. Grandmaster Han Zhu. Several heaven-stage martial warriors couldn't help but bow slightly, expressing their respect for a master. On the sidelines, Trace's gaze was complex. She hadn't expected the young man who had subdued her to have such a special identity. A grandmaster at such a young age, where did this extraordinary talent come from? Suddenly, she remembered Wang Teng's promise. As long as she performed well, he would provide her with the desired cultivation techniques and scriptures. Now it seemed that for a grandmaster, fulfilling such promises was not difficult. Trace's mindset began to undergo a gradual shift, and the resistance in her heart dissipated. Having wealth was impressive, especially a considerable sum like the 675 chaos coins. It stimulated her so much. Since she began her cultivation journey, she had never seen a single chaos coin. Moreover, pledging loyalty to a grandmaster was something she could consider. A grandmaster had a higher status than a heaven-stage martial warrior. This was something she, a martial warrior without any foundation, couldn't compare with. Brother Han, you've truly stolen the spotlight this time. Izong Xinyuo greeted Wang Teng warmly as he returned. Stolen the spotlight, but also gained a lot of trouble. Wang Teng glanced around and shook his head. Seeing Wang Ting's distressed expression, Izong Xinyuo couldn't help but burst into laughter. Hengzong Mo, Guizong Yang, and the others felt that he was just showing off, taking advantage, and still acting cute. I thought my celestial spirit leaf would be the ultimate winner, but I didn't expect to lose in the end. Shozong Tsayun regretfully expressed. Hengzong Mo, Guizong Yang, and Yunzong Xiao suddenly stiffened. At this moment, they suddenly remembered that they lost the ores to the other party. The ores they had deciphered were treasures worth over 10 billion each. Although not as valuable as Shozong Kaiyun's, they were still a considerable sum. Losing like this made them ache. Humbled. Wang Teng chuckled. Brother Han, with your attainments, it should be easy to find various treasures. We finally found treasures like the celestial spirit leaf and the blue glow special water after so much effort. How about you do us a favor and leave them for us? Shozong Kaiyun's blinked, revealing a pitiful look. She walked to Wang Ting's side, swaying his arm, displaying an unmistakable little daughter posture. At the same time, a pair of plump assets swayed slightly at her chest. Wang Ting felt a little dizzy. Wang Ting glanced briefly, immediately retracting his gaze, appearing calm and serene. Appreciating beautiful things is a human instinct. Seeing this, Izong Xinyuo cursed silently. She stepped forward, unwilling to lose out. Sister Tsayun, don't make it difficult for Brother Han. This treasure worth 50 billion UC isn't something you can just abandon. I'm willing to concede defeat. This blue glow special water is a gift to Brother Han. Hongzong Mo and Guizong Yang's faces turned green, not only because they were going to lose the oars but also because Shozong Tsayun and Yizong Xinyuo revealed such charming postures in front of Wang Teng. Which man could endure that? Unfortunately, he had to bear with it even if he couldn't. Their elders had just warned them not to make an enemy of this Han Zhu and to try and make friends. If they turned around and forgot about it, they would definitely suffer consequences. I concede defeat. I'll give this fire cloud dark ore to Brother Han as well. Yunzong Xiao unexpectedly spoke up. All right. It looks like one have no fate with the celestial spirit leaf, Shozong Tsayun said in disappointment. Wang Ting smiled faintly and collected all the oars without making a fuss. Hongzong Mo and Guizong Yang felt the corners of their eyes twitching. Brother Han, you just bought a lot of oars. How about you cut them on the spot and let us witness the spectacle? Yizong Xinyuo suddenly suggested. Isn't that inappropriate? Wang Teng pretended to hesitate. No problem. At the Five Burials Hotel, you don't have to worry about safety issues at all, Yizong Xinyuo said. And if you got oars that you don't need, you can sell them directly to us. You won't need to carry them around all the time, making it safer. Sounds good. Wang Ting nodded, took out a few pieces of ore, and said, let's cut a few. However, I can't guarantee that they will all turn out to be valuable. Even with my expertise, I can't ensure 100% accuracy. Of course, Yizong Xinyuo replied. Everyone was about to leave, but seeing that Wang Ting was going to start cutting stones again, they stopped in their tracks. The first piece of ore chosen by Han Zhu had given everyone a great surprise. The following ores couldn't be too bad. Soon, the second piece of ore was cut. As expected, it increased in value. However, the value wasn't too high, only 3 billion UC, which couldn't compare to the previous one. Next was the third piece, the fourth piece, the fifth piece. In total, 4 pieces were cut, with 2 increasing in value and 2 decreasing. The ores that increased in value were worth no more than 10 billion. No one was disappointed. They finally acknowledged it wholeheartedly. Chapter 2255. Did he fool him too much? Poison Boar Race. 2. Let's stop here, Wang Ting said, not planning to continue gambling on oars. He smiled as he put away the pieces of ore. It was about time to stop. Cutting further would reveal too much. I've also grown tired of this. There are many performances at the banquet. I'll take you to see them, Yizong Xinyuo said with a meaningful look at Wang Teng, smiling. Okay. Wang Teng nodded and followed Yizong Xinyuo and the others towards the front. People around gradually dispersed, but still chatted excitedly about Wang Ting, whom they referred to as Grandmaster Han Zhu. Our slave competition here is unique. Do you want to take a look? Shozong Tsayun asked. Slave competition. Wang Ting's eyes flashed as if he saw attribute bubbles beckoning to him. He nodded immediately and said, sure, let's go take a look. This way. Shozong Tsayun led the way, passing through the crowd. Wang Ting saw a large group of people gathered, seemingly auctioning off some special items like weapons, elixirs, exotic flowers, and fruits. With keen spiritual perception, Wang Ting saw that the auction items weren't anything extraordinary. He lost interest and followed Shozong Tsayun and the others directly forward. Soon, they arrived at a massive arena. This arena was situated in the central part of the Five Burials Hotel, but now it had been elevated into the air, visible directly from the banquet hall below. This elevated area had a semicircular shape, allowing half of the region to have a direct view of the arena. Wang Teng and his companions had now arrived on this side. There were seats in the hall, allowing spectators to sit and enjoy the show. On the elevated arena, 2 figures were engaged in a fierce battle. The booming sounds were contained within a defensive light barrier, ensuring that they didn't reach the outside. Many people had already taken their seats in the hall, eagerly watching the ongoing duel. Wang Teng and his group found a place to sit and then turned their attention to the figures in the arena. To Wang Ting's surprise, One of the figures turned out to be an Ice Element Cosmostage martial warrior. The use of ice force almost froze the entire arena, displaying considerable power. The other martial warrior wasn't ordinary either. He was a poison and fire element martial warrior. A faint green flame-like force enveloped his body, holding him aloft and resisting the surrounding ice force. Both of them were special attribute martial warriors. The Ice Element martial warrior is from the Ice Fairy clan, and the Dual Element martial warrior with poison and fire is from the Poison Boar clan, Izong Xinyuo explained with a smile, seeing Wang Ting's apparent interest. Ice Fairy clan. Wang Ting's eyes lit up. He was surprised. This Ice Element warrior is actually from the Ice Fairy clan. In the vast universe, there were countless races. Some races didn't have distinct physical differences from ordinary human races but possessed special talents. The Ice Fairy clan, for example, looked similar to ordinary humans but had distinctive ice blue long hair. Many Ice Element warriors exhibited their exceptional talents openly, much like Lung Qianxue. Therefore, based on appearance alone, it was nearly impossible to distinguish their races. Wang Ting hadn't expected the warrior in the arena to be a member of the Ice Fairy clan. The Universe Stage Ice Fairy from earlier was still trapped in his Devour space, not fully digested until now. He wondered what surprises this Ice Fairy clan warrior might bring. Unfortunately, Wang Teng's Ice Element talent had already reached the immortal level, making it impossible for ordinary warriors to drop corresponding attributes. His attention then shifted to the other warrior. Poison Boar race. The name sounded a bit strange to him. Wang Ting scrutinized the Poison Boar clan warrior with a peculiar expression. The appearance of this Poison Boar clan member was far from commendable. Similar to the pig-human race, they appeared extremely fierce. A pair of ferocious fangs protruded from its mouth like two small sickles, glinting with a chilling light. Between these fangs was a very conspicuous pig's nose. This kind of race naturally wouldn't have a pleasant appearance. Poison Boar race is a race with outstanding talent in poison manipulation. They look fierce and have considerable strength. It wasn't easy for us to capture a Poison Boar race slave, Shozong Tsayun explained. The strength is decent, Wang Ting nodded. However, he's just a slave. Such slaves appear every once in a while here. His strength is good among ordinary martial warriors, but it's nothing special compared to us, Hung Zhang Mo sneered. Brother Han is a universe explorer, so you must have seen many martial warriors from different races, right? Guizong Yang's eyes flickered, unable to resist asking. I haven't seen the Poison Boar race, but one did encounter a universe stage ice fairy, Wang Ting said with a faint smile. Oh, a universe stage martial warrior from the Ice Fairy clan. How strong is he? Yunzong Xiao asked curiously. When I encountered that ice fairy, he was in a fierce battle with a terrifying behemoth on a planet. The beast was shrouded in purple-black mist, making it indistinguishable, but it was extremely formidable. With a casual attack, the planet collapsed, and the void collapsed. The ice fairy was exceptionally powerful, freezing everything with a lift of his hand. The battle lasted for 10 days and nights. Wang Ting started to fabricate, drawing everyone's attention. And then? Izong Xinyuo asked eagerly. Hung Zhang Mo, Guizong Yang, and the others also looked at Wang Ting, apparently curious about the outcome. They wanted to mock Wang Ting, but they got attracted by his story instead. Then that universe stage ice fairy, Wang Ting began to pause, enjoying the anticipation in their eyes. He then continued, fell to his demise. Fell to his demise. Hung Zhang Mo and others were stunned, feeling regret. What was that behemoth? It killed a universe stage ice fairy, Izong Xinyuo exclaimed. I don't know. Wang Ting shook his head. One was only at the celestial stage at that time, so one didn't dare to get close. When I saw the universe stage ice fairy being killed, one immediately fled. You were only at the celestial stage at that time. They exchanged glances with one another and stared at Wang Ting in astonishment. Did this fellow become a universe explorer at the celestial stage? When they were at the celestial stage, they were still under the protection of their family. They couldn't compare to him at all. Hung Zhang Mo, Guizong Yang, and the others were stunned. They felt that they were being crushed. I had no choice. Wang Ting shook his head, looking regretful. This expression was not faked. He genuinely felt regret. If he could, he wouldn't have chosen such a life-and-death struggle. He nearly died at that time. Could that behemoth be a legendary universe behemoth? Yunzang Xiao suddenly said. I also speculated that, but I never got to see its true appearance. It's regrettable. Wang Ting shook his head. No one knew better than him that the behemoth was the devour nihility beast, but that was a huge secret he couldn't reveal to outsiders. Brother Han's experiences truly command my admiration. Yunzang Xiao suddenly stood up, bowing to Wang Ting and saying, "One apologize for my previous disrespect." Wang Ting was bewildered. He looked at the other party strangely. Did he fool him too much? Brother Yunzang, you're too serious. Wang Ting also stood up and returned the bow, saying hurriedly. Regardless, the fact that he could apologize was enough for Wang Ting to view him in a better light. Hengzang Mo and Guizhang Yang looked at each other, feeling even more stifled. Although they were also greatly shocked, apologizing to this guy was impossible. As they spoke, the battle in the arena reached its conclusion. Seizing an opportunity, the poison boar race martial warrior condensed spear-like weapons with his force and thrust them toward the ice fairy. Boom! A thunderous sound reverberated within the protective barrier as the ice fairy clan warrior was severely injured, spewing blood. The poison boar race martial warriors won. Many people were surprised. Wang Ting's eyes flashed with a peculiar light. As the protective barrier dissipated, and the two slaves were escorted away, he immediately swept out his spiritual power, picking up the attribute bubbles on the arena. Chapter 2256 I don't need to explain anything to you. 1. Wang Ting released his spiritual kineses and picked up all the attribute bubbles in the arena. Ice Constellation Force *850 Cosmos Realm Spirit *30 Universe Realm Enlightenment *360 Ice Blast *20 Poison Constellation Force *20 Fire Constellation Force *8200 Cosmos Realm Spirit *3400 Universe Realm Enlightenment *40 Poison Curse Flame Spear *25001 by 1, the attribute bubbles merged into Wang Ting's mind and body. Some transformed into force, some into spirit and enlightenment, while others directly became insights. Suddenly, 3 of Wang Ting's forces experienced a significant enhancement. Constellation Fire Force, 570,000, Cosmos Stage 7th level, Ice Constellation Force, 1610040,000, Cosmos Stage 4th level, Poison Constellation Force, 5450090,000, Cosmos Stage 9th level. Among them, the Constellation Fire Force directly broke through from the 6th level to the 7th level, advancing a level. Previously, after defeating Occam and obtaining numerous attribute bubbles, the Constellation Fire Force had increased significantly but did not break through. This time, gaining 8,200 points of attribute value pushed it to the edge of a breakthrough. Wang Ting looked at the changes to his attributes board and nodded in satisfaction. Next was the increase in his spirit and enlightenment. It wasn't much, but it was an increase. Spirit, 2185003000000, Cosmos Realm, Enlightenment, 292100300000, Universe Realm. Wang Ting looked at the changes in the two types of attribute values, and his heart trembled slightly. Especially for the enlightenment attribute, it had unconsciously reached the peak of the Universe Realm. It was just a small step away from breaking through. He couldn't help but feel excited. After the Universe Realm, the next step should be the Eternal Realm. If he reached the Eternal Realm, his enlightenment would be terrifying. No one would believe that a Cosmos Stage martial warrior possessed Eternal Realm enlightenment. Every martial warrior typically would undergo a transformation in life, spirit, and enlightenment as their stage advanced. Only some martial warriors with great talent had stronger spirit and enlightenment than others. But such prodigies were very rare. To achieve Eternal Realm enlightenment in the Cosmos Stage was even rarer. This was a colossal threshold akin to the unbridgeable gap between the Universe Stage and the Eternal Stage. Wang Ting was about to cross this threshold, and he couldn't help but anticipate it. He wondered what changes would occur when his enlightenment reached the Eternal Realm. Aside from that, there were two particularly special attribute bubbles. Both of these attribute bubbles were battle techniques. At this moment, two humanoid shadows appeared in Wang Ting's mind. A humanoid figure executed a spear technique, thrusting forward with a terrifying ice-blue radiance erupting in an instant. Amid a horrifying explosion, the void trembled, and the surroundings were instantly frozen. The other humanoid figure was surrounded by eerie green flames, which condensed into a series of green flame spears, emitting a mysterious aura. As the figure's large hand waved, the green flame spears condensed from the eerie green flames shot out violently, piercing through the void and appearing in the distance, exploding with a resounding boom. Waves of green flames spread, sweeping across the void, engulfing even the starry sky. Ice blast! A flash of realization crossed Wang Ting's eyes, and he couldn't help but smile. He hadn't expected to encounter this battle technique here. He had obtained this battle technique from another ice fairy before. Now, he received the corresponding attribute bubbles. It was not bad. Ice Blast, Universe Stage 1203,000, well-versed, originally at the foundation level, it had now been elevated to the well-versed stage. This increase in mastery significantly boosted Wang Ting's proficiency in the skill. This was a universe stage battle technique, so achieving proficiency in it was a cause for Wang Ting's delight. The other battle technique came from the martial warrior from the poison boar race. It was a universe stage battle technique too, extremely mysterious and powerful. Poison Curse Flame Spear, universe stage 1503,000, well-versed, Wang Ting gained 2,500 attribute points, directly raising his proficiency in the skill from foundation to well-versed. As he mastered this martial skill, a peculiar and eerie green light flashed in his eyes, sending shivers down one's spine. He liked this martial skill. The Poison Curse Flame Spear not only incorporated the eerie and poisonous power of the poison force but also possessed the dominance and scorching heat of the fire force. If one were hit by it, even a heaven stage martial warrior would likely suffer severe injuries. Perfect for ambushing. Wang Ting chuckled inwardly. He now had one more skill for his ambushing techniques, a cause for celebration. Fortunately, he was a multi-elemental martial artist, mastering both poison and fire forces. Otherwise, if an ordinary martial warrior acquired this skill, they might not be able to use it and would be left helpless. The whole process took only a few breaths. As the two slaves were taken away, Izong Shinuo smiled and asked, "Brother Han, how did you find the battle between those two slaves?" "Not bad, quite entertaining. One is from the poison boar race while the other is from the ice fairy clan. It seems like they were displaying their respective racial martial skills just now." Wang Ting nodded and replied with a smile. "Exactly." Shozong Tsayun couldn't help but interject, "Their race's battle techniques are incredibly powerful. Judging by the strength they displayed, it's at least at the universe stage. Unfortunately, their skills are protected by racial inheritance, and we cannot learn them." Racial inheritance protection? Wang Ting was slightly stunned. It was the first time he had heard of such a concept, and it intrigued him. Chapter 2257 I don't need to explain anything to you. 2. This is a kind of bloodline restriction. They cannot pass on their martial skills and techniques to individuals outside their own race. Otherwise, they would die instantly. Izong Shinuo looked at Shozong Tsayun with a smile as she explained. "Oh, really?" Wang Ting was quite surprised. He had been relying on picking up attributes and had obtained many techniques and scriptures, including quite a few from various special races, without feeling any difficulty. Yet, Izong Shinuo and the others told him that acquiring scriptures and battle techniques from others' racial inheritances was quite challenging. This was a little awkward. It turned out that he had significant misunderstandings and misconceptions all along. It wasn't the world that was wrong, but him. "Brother Han, don't know about this." Izong Shinuo and the others were also very surprised to see his reaction. This was basic knowledge. As a universe explorer, how could he not know? Something felt off. Cough, those skills look pretty easy to learn. Wang Ting, facing their strange looks, also realized his mistake. His eyes turned, and he quickly coughed. "Easy to learn?" Hung Mo and the others seemed to hear something incredibly amusing. The inheritance scriptures and techniques of those races were not of low levels. Even if one obtained the inheritance, it was not necessarily easy to quickly learn them. This guy actually said they were easy to learn. Easy to learn? Why don't you try learning one? Guizhong Yang couldn't help but sneer. Wang Teng glanced at him and suddenly realized that this was the best way to rectify his mistake. A smile appeared at the edge of his lips. This was a great opportunity. He cooperated well. Wang Teng almost wanted to give Guizhong Yang a big thumbs up. Well done. Then, he raised his palm slightly, and the fire and poison force emerged, intertwining and slowly condensing into several ethereal green flame spears in his palm. These spears were not as large as the ones the poison boar race martial warrior displayed earlier. They were only the size of Wang Teng's palm, lacking the terrifying power, but they emitted the same eerie aura. The prodigies of the 5 major families present were utterly dumbfounded as if they had seen a ghost. Their eyes widened in disbelief. Isn't this quite simple? Wang Teng glanced at them and smiled lightly. This, Hung Mo, Guizhong Yang, and the others didn't know what to say. They found it absurd. Did he really learn the battle technique of the poison boar race? Just by looking at it for a moment, he learned it. Brother Han, you didn't learn this martial skill before, did you? Izong Shinuo couldn't help but ask. No, as you said, this is a legacy of the poison boar race. Where could I have learned it? Wang Teng replied. But this, it's too unbelievable. Izong Shinuo smiled bitterly. No matter who it was impossible to believe such a thing. Just by looking at it, could someone really learn a martial skill like this? I'm afraid this martial skill is just an imitation, merely superficial. It may not be able to unleash much power. Guizhong Yang refused to admit Wang Teng's talent. You don't believe it, and I can't do anything about it. Wang Teng smiled faintly, waving his hand to disperse the ethereal green flame spears as if they had never appeared. I think you can't explain it, that's why you hurriedly dispersed it. Guizhong Yang scoffed. I don't need to explain anything to you. Wang Teng shook his head and said indifferently. Then he turned his head and stopped paying attention to him. This guy had been snide and irritating from the beginning. He was truly annoying, like a fly buzzing around his ears. If it weren't for trying to win over the talents of the 5 major families, he wouldn't have wasted time here with Guizhong Yang. He wanted Wang Teng to explain. On what grounds? You, Guizhong Yang, seeing Wang Teng's disdainful expression, felt somewhat embarrassed and angry, but he didn't dare to escalate the situation. For some reason, he just couldn't stand the black-haired youth in front of him, even though his elders warned him not to offend the other party. All right. Let's continue watching the slave competition. The next batch of slaves is about to come out. Izong Shinuo immediately stepped in to mediate the situation. She was somewhat resentful that Guizhong Yang was causing trouble for no reason, but since it was an order from elders, she didn't want to make the atmosphere too tense. Boom. However, at this moment, a rumbling sound suddenly came from below. The entire 5 Burials hotel trembled, and many people looked in surprise toward the direction of the arena. The sound seemed to be coming from below the stage. What's happening? Hung Mo and the others stood up abruptly and frowned. Boom. Another round of rumbling echoed out as the arena collapsed, and countless stone fragments exploded into the sky. At this moment, the arena had not activated its protective shield. While the materials on top were indeed sturdy, under the impact of tremendous force, they still shattered. Hung Mo, Guizhong Yang, and Izong Xinuo's expressions changed slightly. Retreat. Izong Shinuo grabbed Wang Teng and retreated. At the same time, several dark figures shot up from the shattered stones of the arena, emitting a dense aura of death. Roar! Roar! Kill! Roars echoed as the dark figures let out furious shouts, locking their hostile gazes onto Wang Teng and the others. No, it was more accurate to say that their target was Hung Mo, Guizhong Yang, and the other talents from the 5 families. Oh no, these are the slaves. Yunzong Xiao's expression changed as he shouted. Damn it, these slaves dare to rebel. Guizhong Yang's expression darkened. Boom. Without much time to think, the dark figures instantly closed in on them, unleashing various attacks. In an instant, force explosions resounded in the surroundings. Blade energies, sword energies, fist imprints, palm imprints, and many other attacks shot toward Hung Mo and the others. In their haste, Hung Mo and the others could not afford to be distracted. They had to unleash the force within their bodies and strive to fend off the attacks. Boom. 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 However, everything happened too suddenly, and the group was instantly pushed back by the powerful onslaught. The poison boar race martial warrior locked onto Izang Xinyuo, revealing a sinister expression filled with hatred. The force within him erupted, condensing into the poison curse flame spear and slamming towards them. Brother Han, retreat behind me. Izang Xinyuo wasn't to be underestimated either. As a prodigy of the Izang family, she released the wood force within her, quickly forming a palm imprint to counter the incoming attack. Boom! The collision of their attacks erupted into a terrifying explosion, and shockwaves of force rippled out in all directions. Izang Xinyuo's expression changed slightly as she was forced several steps back. Her palm throbbed with pain, and upon inspecting it, she noticed eerie green threads forming on her hand. Daring to directly face my poison curse flame spear, you're seeking death. A hoarse and resentful voice emanated from the poison boar race martial warrior. He glared at Izang Xinyuo coldly. Then, showing no hesitation, he surged forward once again, declaring, so-called talents of the 5 major families are nothing special. Die. He abruptly extended his palm, reaching towards Izang Xinyuo. It seemed he didn't intend to kill her outright but instead aimed to capture her alive. You can't escape. Izang Xinyuo's expression shifted, realizing that the poison boar race martial warrior's battle technique was extremely formidable. However, she hadn't expected it to be so overwhelming, especially considering the warrior's strength, which seemed no less than her own at the pinnacle of the cosmos stage. In such a confined space, the sudden assault caught them off guard, and Izang Xinyuo found herself at a disadvantage, especially after being poisoned. Her strength had diminished, and she wasn't sure if she could contend with the opponent. Let's go. Izang Xinyuo grabbed Wang Ting's hand, intending to dash out of the 5 Burials Hotel. Once outside, it would be much more challenging for the opponent to capture her. Once the formidable members of the 5 families reacted, these slaves wouldn't stand a chance. Don't rush. Let me test the strength of this poison boar race martial warrior. Wang Ting smiled faintly, raising his other hand to the front. The green flame coalesced into a spear. Then, he uttered a single word, go. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. A series of breaking air sounds echoed as the green flame-formed spear shot forward. How is this possible? The poison boar race martial warrior's face changed drastically, staring in disbelief at the rapidly approaching green flame spear. Chapter 2258, Black Skull Universe Pirate. 1. The appearance of the poison curse flame spear left the martial warriors of the opposing poison boar race momentarily stunned. However, with their rich combat experience, especially during the time they were enslaved, they faced life-and-death situations many times, quickly regaining their composure. Roar. A furious roar erupted from their leader, and as the seemingly identical legacy battle technique approached, a fierce glint flashed in his eyes. The poison and fire force surged within him, once again condensing into the poison curse flame spear. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In an instant, these poison curse flame spears directly clashed with the oncoming attack. He didn't believe the opponent mastered the poison curse flame spear. It was probably just imitation. The true power of the poison curse flame spear wasn't something easily learned. At this moment, the poison boar race martial warriors had the same thoughts as Guizang Yang. They couldn't help but deceive themselves. This situation was a bit unimaginable. Which martial warrior could learn someone else's martial technique with just a glance? Even eternal stage martial warriors couldn't achieve such a feat. It was unrealistic and against the principles of martial art. Wang Ting could somewhat guess their thoughts, and all he could respond with was 2 words, haha. Boom. The next moment, the 2 attacks collided, and 2 clusters of emerald green flames erupted, swirling and spreading in all directions. The constant clashes of the emerald green flames created a deadlock between the two sides. However, soon after, the emerald green flames on the side of the poison boar race martial warrior began to retreat steadily. It was like two poisonous creatures engaged in a battle, but with different levels of strength. One side was bound to fall into a disadvantage sooner or later. The leader of the poison boar race martial warrior showed a slight change in expression, displaying disbelief. His poison curse flame spear was inferior to the opponent. Was this a joke? A mocking curve appeared at the corner of Wang Teng's mouth. Although his mastery of the poison curse flame spear was only at a well-versed level, it was superior to the opponent's. The poison force contained within was the poison of the demon lotus poison body, far surpassing ordinary poison force. The power of flames, likewise, was not ordinary fire but a fusion of several beast flames. With the combined influence of these two special powers, the opponent's poison curse flame spear naturally couldn't match up to Wang Teng's version. It could be said that these techniques, when wielded by Wang Teng, often exhibited a power far greater than their original owner. The emerald green flames recoiled as if being swept back by a violent wind. The expression on the poison boar race martial warrior's face turned unpleasant, tinged with a hint of panic. He quickly withdrew, but it was too late. Boom! The emerald green flames directly engulfed him, and a miserable scream echoed. The poison boar race martial warrior was wrapped in flames, struggling futilely to dispel the fire. As the flames burned, numerous emerald green patterns instantly appeared on his body, spreading from his neck to his face. They were remarkably similar to the patterns on Yizang Xinyuo's palm. This, Yizang Xinyuo was completely stunned. This was the opponent's legacy battle technique. Identical. Even the effects were so eerily similar. She couldn't help but glance at her palm, then looked at the poison boar race martial warrior struggling in front of her. She was unable to suppress a shiver. This martial technique was so terrifying. If completely enveloped, she might end up looking like this. At the same time, Hongzong Mo, Guizong Yang, and the others saw this scene too. They were astounded. Did he really learn the battle technique of the poison boar race? Tun Shan. A shout erupted from the mouths of several slaves, a mix of shock and anger. They hadn't expected their comrade to be dealt with so easily, resulting in a significant loss of their fighting strength. You can't escape. Hongzong Mo blocked an attack from one of the slaves and shouted. These slaves had a good plan. They wanted to catch the talents of the 5 families and force them to submit to them. That way, they could escape. Unfortunately, they underestimated the strength of the 5 families' rising stars. Even though the slaves outnumbered them, they couldn't completely subdue them for the time being. A cold snort suddenly echoed, and 3 Heaven Stage slaves rushed in from behind. These slaves were originally imprisoned in the underground dungeons of the 5 Burials Hotel, but for some reason, they escaped. Now, even Heaven Stage slaves appeared. It seemed like the hotel's defenders were either killed or restrained, temporarily unable to break free. Make way. One of the Heaven Stage martial warriors had a stern expression, his gaze fixed on Hongzong Mo and the others. This was their only chance, and there was no room for error. Damn it! Hongzong Mo, Guizong Yang, and the others had a slight change in expression. They were ultimately separated by a major realm from the Heaven Stage. What's more, there were 3 Heaven Stage martial warriors. Even if they could engage in cross-tier battles, they couldn't guarantee victory. Moreover, these slaves possessed a fierce determination to fight to the death, making them even more terrifying than ordinary warriors. They were forced into a corner, with no choice but to fight desperately for a glimmer of hope. Facing such opponents was undoubtedly the most terrifying. Boom! A Heaven Stage martial warrior pressed his hand down and congregated his force into a palm imprint. He wanted to suppress the 3 martial warriors. Hongzong Mo, Guizong Yang, and the others immediately felt an immense force pushing down on them, veins bulging on their foreheads. Get lost! An angry roar came out of Guizong Yang's mouth. He was burning with anger. As a talent, he wouldn't allow himself to be suppressed by a bunch of slaves. The next moment, a war blade appeared in his hand. He slashed it out with a terrifying blaze of flames. Boom! The palm imprint was unexpectedly blocked in midair, and cracks even appeared on it. Chapter 2259, Black Skull Universe Pirate. 2. Let's go. Taking advantage of the rebound force, Guizhong Yang, along with Hongzong Mo, Yunzong Xiao, and others, rushed toward the outside of the Five Burials Hotel. Crack. The surrounding walls, under their attacks, crumbled like tofu, directly shattered, and the group rushed out in an instant. Trying to escape. Killing intent shot out of a heaven stage martial warrior's eyes. He wielded a war sword and unleashed his martial technique, slamming it towards the group. Don't kill them. Another heaven stage martial warrior shouted. Don't hold back. These are the rising stars of the 5 major families. Holding back won't stop them. The cold voice of the heaven stage martial warrior echoed. Boom. His martial technique transformed into waves of sword energy, containing the power of his domain. It enveloped Hongzong Mo and the others, attempting to draw them into his domain. The third heaven stage martial warrior attacked Wang Ting. Wang Teng's previous actions made them realize that this young man possessed exceptional strength, so they dared not underestimate him. The heaven stage martial warrior wielded a battle axe, resembling a warrior with bear-like characteristics, covered in dark fur, exuding a savage and ferocious aura. Boom. The bear race heaven stage martial warrior swung his axe, and a terrifying earthy yellow axe aura descended like an overwhelming force, shattering the furnishings inside the hotel. The attack hadn't fully landed, yet the surroundings couldn't withstand it. This was the terror of a heaven stage warrior. The various construction materials of the Five Burials Hotel were exceptionally sturdy, but under relentless assault, they proved as fragile as paper. The entire luxurious building trembled and crumbled, succumbing to the overwhelming force. In the encompassing influence of the axe aura, Yizong Xinyuo and Shozong Tsayun found themselves within its range. The weighty and razor-sharp axe aura caused their expressions to turn grave. More importantly, a field had formed within the attack, descending upon them. Disregarding the destruction unfolding around them, the two women exchanged a glance and simultaneously unleashed their attacks, both infused with the power of their respective domains. They met the oncoming assault head-on. Boom! The collision of the two forces echoed through the air, resonating with thunderous roars. The heaven stage martial warrior's expression changed as his full-force attack was unexpectedly blocked. Let's go. Yizong Xinyuo uttered a light command, evading falling debris as she charged outside. With a flash in his eyes, Wang Ting swiftly followed suit. In the end, the 3 heaven stage martial warriors failed to impede them. The group instantly appeared outside the collapsed hotel. Meanwhile, the other warriors inside the hotel finally reacted, scattering in panic and avoiding any prolonged stay in the vicinity. While the strength of the warriors here was beyond that of the Cosmos stage, not everyone could contend with these slaves. Being slaves didn't mean that they were weak. Despite being slaves, their strength and decisiveness exceeded that of ordinary warriors precisely because of their enslaved status. The countenances of the 3 heaven stage martial warriors turned unsightly as they paid no heed to the other warriors, directly rushing towards Hongzong Mo and the others. Boom! The entire Five Burials Hotel finally collapsed, reduced to a sprawling ruin that sent clouds of dust swirling into the night sky. Outside the now ruined Five Burials Hotel, the night was deep, and shadows dashed in disarray in the wake of the destruction. Beep! 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 At this very moment, a series of piercing alarm sounds reverberated through the skies above the 5 burial stars, leaving everyone in a state of bewilderment. One wave of chaos followed another. What happened? Hongzong Mo and the others wore solemn expressions as they gazed up at the night sky, their pupils contracting in response. Standing in the void, Wang Ting, too, raised his head in surprise. Across thousands of kilometers, with his keen vision, he quickly identified the symbols on the colossal spacecraft that had appeared. There was a black skull symbol on the spacecraft. Black Skull Universe Pirate. A cry of shock echoed from the surroundings, indicating that some recognized the origin of these spacecraft. Black Skull Universe Pirates. Wang Teng was stunned. Hongzong Mo, Yizong Xinyuo, and the others' expressions had turned extremely grim. They had never expected the notorious Black Skull Universe Pirates to show up at the 5th burial star. Had they gone mad? Wang Ting, this Black Skull Universe Pirates team isn't simple. Round Ball's voice suddenly appeared in Wang Ting's mind with a hint of seriousness. Oh, they're quite significant. Wang Ting raised an eyebrow, inquiring. The Black Skull Universe Pirates are one of the 3 largest pirate groups in the Phantom Drift territorial domain. Alongside the Red Dragon Universe Pirates and the White Knight Universe Pirates, they are renowned as the most formidable pirate groups. The group boasts many powerful warriors, making them unrivaled in the Phantom Drift territorial domain. Few dare to provoke them, Round Ball explained. So, they are that formidable. Wang Teng was astonished. Yes, just look at the expressions on Hung Zong Mo and the others. The fact that even the rising stars of the 5 major families are showing such terrified looks speaks volumes about the fearsome reputation of the Black Skull Universe Pirates, Round Ball said. Wang Teng glanced at them and silently nodded. The 5 burial stars was thrown into complete chaos. The arrival of the Black Skull Universe Pirates plunged the entire 5 burial stars into utter chaos. Figures emerged from the spacecraft of the Black Skull Universe Pirates, floating beyond the void. Clad in fearsome battle armor and with the Black Skull emblem adorning the chest of their armor, they exuded a fierce and menacing aura. Ha ha ha, at this moment, hearty laughter resonated from beneath the ruins of the 5 Burials Hotel. Hung Zong Mo and the others furrowed their brows, casting their gaze towards the wreckage of the hotel. A figure emerged, breaking through the debris and soaring into the air, surrounded by a group of warriors. Leading them was a young man with a pair of black curved horns on his head, reminiscent of antelope horns. Wang Teng suddenly remembered the sheep-head devil race dark apparition he saw in the past. However, this young man didn't have a sheep's head. He looked no different from a normal human except for a pair of sheep horns. Isn't this, the slave we captured recently? Izong Xinyuo seemed to recall something, murmuring under her breath. It's him. Hung Zong Mo and the others had encountered this young man not long ago, so his appearance was still fresh in their minds. Who are you? Guizong Yang frowned and asked. Who am I? The young man with black curved horns wore a cold expression, chuckling disdainfully. You don't know who I am, yet you dared to capture me. Truly ignorant. Did you bring the Black Skull Universe Pirates here? Yunzong Xiao asked with a darkened expression. Not entirely clueless. The young man with black curved horns radiated a cold light in his eyes. Unfortunately, it's too late. You, the 5 Burials family, have quite the audacity to treat me as a slave. His eyes revealed an unquenchable hatred. This was the greatest humiliation he had endured in his life. Without making the 5 burial stars pay a sufficient price, his burning rage would not be appeased. Who are you? Hung Zong Mo's expression turned solemn as he asked in a deep voice. At this point, he had cursed the entire family of those who had captured slaves countless times. Were these people blind? Before capturing someone, shouldn't they investigate thoroughly? Now, they brought back such massive trouble. He wondered how much damage it will inflict upon the 5 burial stars. Who I am is none of your business. You only need to know that the 5 burial stars must pay a price for this. The young man with black curved horns waved his hand grandly and declared coldly, attack. Capture these rising stars of the 5 major families. One want them to taste the bitterness of becoming slaves. Yes. The surrounding slaves immediately responded respectfully. Originally destined to become slaves themselves, these individuals were saved by the young man with black curved horns. He promised to let them join the Black Skull Universe Pirates, so naturally, they were willing to fight for him. As members of the Phantom Drift territorial domain, few were unaware of the might of the Black Skull Universe Pirates. Although notorious as a pirate group, not just anyone could join their ranks. Being slaves, the opportunity to join the Black Skull Universe Pirates was a stroke of tremendous luck. For them, it was a chance to seek vengeance against the 5 burial stars, making the Black Skull Universe Pirates the perfect ally. These enslaved warriors immediately charged towards Hung Zong Mo and the others, their eyes filled with hatred. Even without much prompting from the young man with black curved horns, they were determined to capture the rising stars of the 5 major families and seek vengeance for themselves. Boom, boom, boom. Chapter 2260. Forgive me for being direct, but you're not qualified. 1. Boom. 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 Surrounded by enslaved warriors, relentless attacks seemed to rain down upon Hung Mo and the others, leaving them struggling to cope. Most notably, there were even heaven-stage martial warriors among them. Even for the formidable rising stars of the 5 major families, breaking free in such circumstances proved to be a daunting task. Izong Xinyuo and the others had ugly expressions on their faces. This black-horned young man wanted to capture them as his slaves. He was audacious. Despite being members of the Black Skull Universe Pirates, it mattered little to them. As the rising stars of the 5 burial stars, they would not allow a mere pirate group to humiliate them. Wearing a wry smile, Wang Ting couldn't help but feel exasperated. What started as a seemingly simple slave uprising had unexpectedly drawn the attention of the notorious Black Skull Universe Pirates. It was indeed an unfortunate twist of fate. He was just here to attend a banquet. He had never anticipated getting entangled in such an affair. A slave uprising of this magnitude likely hadn't occurred at the 5 Burials Hotel in many years. Yet, the moment he came, he encountered one. To make matters worse, they were now facing the Black Skull Universe Pirates, one of the 3 major pirate groups. The situation took a bizarre turn when it was revealed that the 5 burial stars had captured members of the Black Skull Universe Pirates. It looked like the 5 burial stars had met their match. As the saying goes, walk by the river often, and your shoes will get wet. The 5 burial stars was notorious for capturing slaves, acting recklessly without any restraint. Encountering a tough opponent or two wasn't out of the realm of possibility. However, the trouble they stirred up this time seemed to involve someone quite formidable. The problem lay in the fact that the grudge between the black-horned youth and the 5 burial stars seemed unrelated to Wang Teng. But the other party didn't see it that way. He killed the martial warriors from the poison boar race, causing the slaves to believe that he was with the 5 burial stars. Wang Teng felt helpless, finding himself caught in an undeserved predicament. Unfortunately, there was no time for further deliberation. Action had to be taken. Wang Ting was not particularly afraid of the opposing forces. In terms of strength, the warriors present were nothing more than fodder. None of the Heaven Stage martial warriors among them posed a real threat. As for Universe Stage martial warriors, the 5 burial stars was not to be underestimated. In addition to Universe Stage martial warriors, there were also hidden Eternal Stage beings. While the Black Skull Universe Pirates were undoubtedly formidable, there was no guarantee they could overpower the 5 burial stars. However, their sudden arrival would undoubtedly cause significant losses for the 5 burial stars. Just as these thoughts raced through Wang Ting's mind, a group of formidable figures shot into the void. The powerful individuals of the 5 burial stars had arrived. Activate the star concealing array. A resounding command echoed across the 5 burial stars. Boom! A hum reverberated as a terrifying formation, with the 5 planets as its foundation, was instantly activated. If observed from the vastness of space, a circular, pitch-black array enveloped the 5 planets, isolating them with a curtain of black light. "It's the old guys," Guizhang Yang exclaimed, a hint of joy flickering in his eyes. "Me." The young man with black curved horns snorted. "You can't escape. This is our territory. It's not your place to create trouble," declared Yunzong Xiao in a cold tone. "The 5 burial stars is nothing. How dare you provoke me? Ill-flatten the 5 burial stars." A contemptuous smile appeared at the edge of the young man's lips. "You." Hung Mo and the others glared at the young man with the black curved horns. They never expected that, even after the appearance of the powerful individuals from the 5 burial stars, this young man would still dare to boast. "How dare you capture our young master as a slave?" At that moment, a resounding shout echoed through the void, reverberating across the 5 planets. "Young master!" The expressions of Hung Mo and the others changed slightly, and their pupils contracted as they stared at the young man with black curved horns. Wang Ting also looked at the opponent with surprise. This guy turned out to be the young master of the Black Skull Universe Pirates. His background was substantial. How did he end up being captured as a slave by the people of the 5 burial stars? Wang Teng's expression became somewhat peculiar, sensing that something was amiss. It's over. He's the young master of the Black Skull Universe pirates. This situation may not end well, murmured Izang Xinyuo, her face solemn. You were able to capture the young master of the Black Skull Universe pirates. Truly impressive. Wang Ting commented in a calm tone. Izang Xinyuo and the others. For a moment, they were unsure whether Wang Ting was praising them or mocking them. Brother Han, there's something strange about this matter. The slaves we caught are all rootless drifters in the universe. It's impossible to catch people from powerful factions, Izang Xinyuo said with a bitter smile. It seems your luck is not great this time, Wang Teng remarked. Boom. The attacks from the slave warriors surged once again. The voice emanating from the Black Skull Universe pirates filled them with renewed vigor. The revelation that the young man with black curved horns was the heir of the Black Skull Universe pirates exhilarated them. It seemed that by sticking close to him, they could break free from the control of the 5 burial stars. Everyone, deal with them. We can't afford to waste any more time. Hung Zhang Mo glanced at the sky, his expression icy, and he uttered a cold command. Agreed. Guizang Yang and Yunzang Xiao, understanding the severity of the situation, unleashed their full power. The 5 elites of the 5 major families became serious, realizing that it was time to go all out. This time, they were not holding back. Powerful techniques erupted, clashing with the slave warriors in a fierce battle. The bear-like warrior who had been entangling Izang Xinyuo and Shozong Tsayun dragged them into his domain. 3 poison boar race martial warriors joined the fray, and the poison boar race warrior who had been defeated by Wang Ting earlier was among them. He had fallen prey to Wang Teng's demon lotus poison, and his strength significantly weakened. The green lines on his face added a terrifying aspect to his already ferocious appearance. Chapter 2261. Forgive me for being direct, but you're not qualified. 2. He stared at Wang Teng intently. He was filled with unwillingness to accept the fact that he was defeated by Wang Ting's poison curse flame spear. Well, if it isn't our friend from the poison boar race. Wang Ting looked at the opponent with a grin. Why do you know the poison curse flame spear? Tun Shan asked coldly. I learned it on the spot when you were fighting with the ice fairy martial warrior. Wang Teng explained innocently, one don't want to learn, but I can't help it. I learned it with one look. The muscles on Tun Shan's face twitched. Learned it with just a glance. Did he think this was a star-disciple battle technique? Learning it with just a glance, what does he take their poison boar race's martial arts for, damn it? The other 2 poison boar race warriors also had black lines all over their heads. They wouldn't have believed it if they hadn't witnessed Tun Shan being hit by the poison curse flame spear with their own eyes. An outsider, mastering their race's legacy battle technique. And mastering it with just a glance. Who did he think he was fooling? Even the gaze of the black-horned youth was drawn towards Wang Ting. He had been focusing on Hung Zhang Mo and the others, but the situation with Wang Ting seemed more intriguing. A non-native warrior who seemingly learned the poison boar race's martial art with just a glance. He couldn't believe that there could be such a monstrous genius among the elites of the universe. At this moment, he crossed his arms and floated in mid-air, showing keen interest in Wang Teng. Tun Shan, don't waste your breath on him. Capture him, and we'll naturally find out why he knows our poison boar race's battle technique, one of the poison boar race's martial warriors said. Be careful, has also a dual-element martial warrior of poison and fire, and the toxicity of that kind is even more terrifying than our poison boar race's poison. Tun Shan said with a solemn expression. The other 2 poison boar race martial warriors, seeing his serious tone, naturally didn't dare to be negligent. The 3 of them instantly formed a triangular formation, attacking Wang Ting. They simultaneously unleashed the poison curse flame spear, condensing spears of eerie green flames that completely enveloped Wang Ting. This time, let's see how you resist. Tun Shan's gaze was icy, and with a sweeping motion of his large hand, the poison curse flame spear surged toward Wang Ting from all directions. Wang Ting stood suspended in mid-air with his hands behind his back. He maintained a calm and indifferent expression, whether facing the attacks from the front or the rear. You have a death wish. Anger burned in Tun Shan's heart when he saw Wang Teng's expression. Killing intent filled up his eyes. This bastard seemed utterly disdainful, not placing them in his eyes. Boom. In the next moment, just as the poison curse flame spear was about to strike Wang Teng, a formidable flame erupted from his body. The flames appeared as a grayish-white color. It was the ash flame that Wang Teng obtained from Landon. He didn't need a divine flame to deal with these poison boar race martial warriors, especially considering its unique nature. Wang Teng had used it before, and revealing it now would not be appropriate. If the 5 burial stars wanted to investigate, they might discover his identity. This wasn't the time to reveal his identity. On the contrary, the ash flame was a peculiar earth element flame that he hadn't widely used in front of many people, making it difficult for the 5 major families to trace. The poison curse flame spears surrounding Wang Teng were blocked by the ash flame, keeping them at bay from his body. He was well aware of the weakness of these flame spears, and at this moment, he precisely countered them, easily fending off the attacks. Foolish. Tun Shan, witnessing this, suddenly revealed a hint of mockery on his face. Boom. In the next moment, the poison curse flame spear burst open instantly, transforming into a sea of eerie green flames that engulfed Wang Teng. Tun Shan, is this what you called troublesome? He doesn't seem so troublesome after all. A poison boar race martial warrior said with a peculiar expression. With our combined strength, he won't escape. Tun Shan snorted. The black-horned youth shook his head and was about to shift his gaze away. Suddenly, his eyebrows raised in surprise. He looked towards Tun Shan's rear with an intrigued expression on his face. Interesting. Tun Shan's expression changed. He sensed something and pounced forward, but it was too late. Boom. A resounding roar echoed as a burst of crimson light erupted. Fire Silk Finger. This was a universe stage battle finger technique that Wang Teng acquired but rarely used. It was the perfect moment to employ it now. Having already displayed both fire and poison forces, Wang Teng preferred not to reveal too many other forces to avoid arousing suspicion. At this moment, the flames condensed into a pillar of light with the shadow of a fire silkworm within. It pierced through the void and forcefully struck Tun Shan in the back. Swoosh. Tun Shan slowly lowered his head, only to discover a massive bloody hole in his chest. A scorching sensation spread around the wound. Tun Shan. The other 2 poison boar race martial warriors shouted in astonishment. I thought you were strong, but it turns out you couldn't withstand a single finger from me. Wang Teng shook his head and turned his gaze toward the remaining 2 poison boar race martial warriors. You. The 2 warriors' pupils contracted. Run, this person is not someone we can contend with. Can you escape? Wang Teng's expression remained indifferent as he pointed towards the 2 of them. Boom. Once again, a more robust pillar of flame gathered, erupting from his index finger and charging towards the 2. Damn it! The 2 poison boar race martial warriors wore solemn expressions, realizing escape was impossible. They exchanged a glance and shouted, "Well join forces. We refuse to believe we can't stop him." Boom. A rich poison, a fusion of both fire and poison forces, erupted within the 2 martial warriors. Converging into one, they formed a spear of eerie green flames. There was only one, but this spear was even more powerful. A terrifying aura spread out, distorting the space around it. A trace of domain power merged into it. It made the eerie force on the spear even more dreadful. You're just struggling. Wang Ting shook his head. In his eyes, the domain power was too weak to pose any threat. Go. The 2 poison boar race martial warriors shouted, and the shadow of the spear instantly surged toward the pillar of flame. The 2 collided violently. Boom. A dreadful roar echoed through the void. The eerie green and crimson flames rolled in opposite directions as if forming 2 colossal bowls. Cracks appeared in the surrounding void, indicating the strength of the attacks capable of collapsing the space itself. The 2 poison boar race martial warriors stared intently at the point of collision. Crack. A crisp sound of shattering resonated. The shadow of the spear fragmented, and a silhouette of a fire silkworm flickered within the pillar of flame, agile and lively, directly rushing towards the two poison boar race martial warriors. No! A wail echoed as the two individuals were engulfed by the pillar of light, meeting their instantaneous demise. Slap! Applause resounded from the side. Wang Ting turned to look and saw the black-horned youth observing him, wearing an expression of admiration. "You're quite formidable," he remarked. "Thanks for the compliment," Wang Teng replied casually. "They were just too weak." The black-horned youth's mouth twitched slightly. He felt that the black-haired youth before him seemed more adept at acting cool, but he didn't mind. Instead, he smiled and asked, "You're probably not from the 5 major families, right? So what if I am or am not?" Wang Teng replied, "If you're not from the 5 major families, there's no need for us to be enemies," said the black-horned youth. "You didn't seem to think so just now," Wang Teng remarked. "Genius deserves respect. As you are now, I can spare your life if you submit to me," the black-horned youth said with a faint smile. "Submit?" Wang Ting chuckled and said, "You're quite confident. Do you think he'll listen to you? You should know who 1am, Black Skull Universe Pirates. Not many can resist us," the black-horned youth said confidently. "If it's the Black Skull Universe Pirates, one would indeed be wary, but just you alone, forgive me for being frank, you're not qualified," Wang Ting said calmly. "What did you say?" A cold glint flashed in the black-horned youth's eyes, staring at Wang Ting. "I said you aren't qualified." Wang Ting enunciated each word. "I'm seeking death." The black-horned youth glared at Wang Ting with an icy gaze, declaring, "I gave you a chance, but you don't know how to appreciate it." Boom! As his words fell, he suddenly moved, disappearing from his original position. A peculiar force burst forth, entwining towards Wang Ting. Chapter 2262, Release Our Young Master, or well flatten the 5 burial stars. Boom! The black-horned youth vanished from his original position. A terrifying force emanated from the void. It extended like tendrils, surrounding Wang Ting from all directions. The force was exceptionally unique, presenting itself in a complex array of colors, not purely belonging to any single type. Wang Ting's gaze slightly narrowed as he sensed various elemental characteristics within that force. It seemed that the opponent's forces were fused in a peculiar manner. Lifting his finger, he pointed forward. Fire Silk Finger. Still employing this universe stage finger technique, it instantly transformed into a pillar of fire, fiercely colliding with the incoming force. A loud explosion occurred. The void trembled, and the peculiar force was immediately forced open, creating an opening. Wang Ting's figure flashed abruptly. The surrounding force, which had been sweeping in, suddenly contracted, but only a residual image remained at the original location. The black-horned youth appeared where Wang Ting had stood moments ago, furrowing his brow as he looked forward. Wang Ting's figure slowly materialized there. Universe Stage Battle Technique. The black-horned youth stared at Wang Ting, expressing a slight surprise. He had sensed something extraordinary when Wang Ting used this technique to defeat 3 poison boar race martial warriors. But now, in direct confrontation, he realized that this technique had reached the universe stage. "Very well, once I defeat you, I'll naturally obtain this martial technique." A hint of fervor flashed in the black-horned youth's eyes. He quite liked this fire attribute finger technique and naturally wanted to make it his own. "Don't look at me with that kind of gaze." It's weird. Wang Ting was speechless. Just how self-confident was this guy to want to snatch his martial technique? Wang Ting had always been the one to take others' techniques. This was the first time someone dared to try and steal his. This black-horned youth probably didn't know how strong Wang Ting was. The black-horned youth's eye twitched. Weird. Was he looked down upon? An unprovoked surge of anger rose from the depths of his heart. The black-horned youth soared into the sky, instantly striking out with a punch towards Wang Ting. Boom! The void exploded as a powerful force surged from his fist, sweeping in all directions. The momentum was terrifying, and a horrifying fist imprint condensed in the sky. The fist imprint spanned the sky, and a unique field spread out in all directions, shrouding the void. Many martial warriors didn't flee but instead watched from a distance. Feeling the immense power of this field, they couldn't help but look on in awe. What a powerful domain! That black-horned youth truly deserves to be the heir of the Black Skull Universe pirates. Even at the peak of the Cosmos stage, his strength is terrifying. I think that's Grandmaster Elon Zhu. Why is he with the young master of the Universe pirate gang? Can Grandmaster Elon Zhu withstand this? Originally, their attention had been drawn to the battles of the 5 prodigies from the 5 major families, but the current conflict on this side left them astonished. The power unleashed by the heir of Black Skull Universe pirates seemed even more terrifying than the prodigies of the 5 major families. Wang Ting raised his head, his gaze reflecting the horrifying fist imprint. His expression remained consistently calm, but when the fist imprint descended upon him, his eyes suddenly lit up. Boom! The next moment, Wang Ting also moved, delivering a punch that unleashed a formidable fist imprint. 7 mountains crumbling fists. This was the renowned martial technique of Wn Dong, technique known as the 7 mountains crumbling fist. A universe stage battle, however, the essence within was not the Mountain Cleaver Ultima but Wang Ting's comprehension of Star Cleaver Ultima. The fist imprint erupted, and a large star rose steadily, illuminating the night sky. Boom! The 2 fist imprints collided with a terrifying roar, and shockwaves of force rolled in all directions. The black-horned youth's gaze narrowed as he saw cracks appearing on his fist imprint, seemingly on the verge of collapse. Before he could think further, boom! The next moment, accompanied by a series of cracking 11 sounds, his fist imprint suddenly shattered. The large star ascended against the sky, and the surrounding space seemed unable to withstand its existence, displaying cracks. The black-horned youth snorted coldly. A peculiar, pitch-black battle blade suddenly appeared in his hand, and he swung it down abruptly. A blade light, several hundred feet long, slashed through the air. Countless blade lights raged and traversed the void, cutting it with numerous white marks. Boom! The several hundred feet of blade light instantly descended upon the large star with a crisp sound, and the star crumbled, being cleanly split into 2. Not bad. Wang Ting's eyes flickered, and he lightly stepped on the ground, transforming into a rainbow light shooting into the sky. I haven't encountered such an interesting opponent in a long time. I hope you don't disappoint me. The black-horned youth, wielding the battle blade, also turned into a crimson-yellow rainbow light, meeting him head-on. The 2 figures transformed into radiant spheres, violently colliding in the air, continuously erupting with thunderous roars. The collision of fists and palms, the constant booming sounds, and the secret techniques and domain powers pervading the void created terrifying cracks in all directions. The surrounding buildings were instantly destroyed, turning into ruins. Wang Ting frowned, consciously ascending into the sky for aerial combat. He pulled out a spear, a universe-level fire element weapon. It was a weapon he rarely used, and others would never have expected it to be in his possession. The crimson spear clashed with the black-horned man's battle blade in mid-air, producing a resounding clang, accompanied by endless bursts of flames. The black-horned youth's battle blade was also no ordinary weapon. It was also universe-level. The ability to use a universe-level weapon at the Cosmos stage already demonstrated the extraordinary identity of the black-horned youth. What surprised him even more was that Wang Ting also possessed a universe-level weapon. The black-haired youth's identity became increasingly astonishing in his eyes. The battle on this side intensified. In the distance, the fight involving Heng Zhangmo and the others from the 5 major families was rapidly approaching its conclusion. As prodigies of the 5 major families, their formidable strength, when unleashed to the fullest, left the slave warriors at a clear disadvantage. Soon, the slave warriors found themselves overwhelmed. Also, swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The sound of breaking air echoed as warriors from the 5 burial stars quickly arrived in the distance, suppressing the slave warriors. After all, this was the territory of the 5 burial stars. If these slaves couldn't quickly resolve Heng Zhangmo and the others, they would have no chance. However, these slaves still had heaven-stage martial warriors among them. In a desperate struggle, they exhibited formidable combat power. Get out of 5 burial stars. The black-horned youth hadn't expected Wang Ting's strength to be so formidable. Lai couldn't resolve the situation in a short time, especially with the arrival of strong warriors from the 5 burial stars. He dared not delay and immediately shouted. Realizing they couldn't linger in the battle, the slave warriors swiftly shifted the conflict toward the cosmos. Thinking of running away? Hung Zangmo and the others showed a hint of joy in their eyes, snorted coldly, and pursued closely. Boom! 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 Thunderous roars echoed in the void. With the warriors chasing each other, they unconsciously reached the atmosphere of the 5th burial star. Their battle was on the verge of leaving the 5th burial star. Boom! A cosmos stage martial warrior, seeing the cosmos right before him, immediately abandoned Hung Zangmo and the others behind and rushed out. However, an explosion reverberated. Ah! The cosmos stage martial warrior screamed in pain. He seemed to have slammed into an invisible wall. A dark screen enveloping the 5 burial stars emerged. The slave warrior was forcefully repelled, his body showing cracks and blood spewed from his mouth. Ha ha ha, the star-concealing formation of my 5 burial stars is not something you can enter and exit at will, Hung Zangmo laughed heartily. He threw a punch, and the fist imprint directly engulfed the slave warrior. The other party didn't have any time to react. His entire body was smashed into pieces by the fist mark. Blood splattered in the air. He was dead. You rascal. The black-horned youth saw this scene, his expression immediately turning grim. It seems like you've become sitting ducks. Wang Teng chuckled. Me. The black-horned youth snorted coldly, saying, none of you can stop me. Roar. The next moment, a roar erupted from his mouth, deafening and causing everyone around to pale. They immediately used their force to block their ears. Some weaker individuals were directly shaken to the point of bleeding from their 7 orifices. Trying to use this method to let the outside world confirm his location, Wang Teng's expression slightly condensed. Lai activated his spiritual power to withstand the terrifying sound from the opponent. The roaring sound of the black-horned youth spread through the formation, letting people outside hear it. In the cosmos, colossal battleships, like cosmic behemoths, occupied the void. Among them, there was a spacecraft that was as large as a planet, entirely black with a gigantic skull emblem on it. The surrounding warships protected it in the center. Simultaneously, around the spaceship, figures stood suspended in mid-air, exuding powerful auras, including some at the universe stage. Young Master. The gazes of those figures were instantly drawn to this side, landing on the black-horned youth. You 5 families, do you want to go to war with my Black Skull Universe pirate group? Release our young lord immediately. A universe stage martial warrior stood in mid-air, appearing as if a world of flames was forming behind him, emanating terrifying world power. It shook the star-concealing formation and the scorching aura spread in all directions from him like a blazing sun. Within the formation, the heads of the 5 major families couldn't help but exchange glances, their expressions extremely grave. It seemed that the young lord of the opposing faction was truly on the 5 burial stars, and it looked like he was the source of the current chaos. This made the situation incredibly tricky for them. The grudge had already formed, and now it wasn't a matter of whether they would release the other side's young lord. Even if they did, the other party probably wouldn't let things end peacefully. The dominance of the Black Skull Universe pirate group surpassed that of the 5 burial stars. The heads of Re-5 major families quickly communicated through voice transmission and promptly made a decision. Leave the range of the 5 burial stars, and we will release your young lord. Hungzang family's head, Hungzang Chuan, stood with hands behind his back, his voice calmly echoing. They weren't afraid of universe stage martial warriors, so they stood directly outside the array. That way, their voices wouldn't be blocked. Impossible. The flame-wielding universe stage martial warrior spoke arrogantly, release our young lord, or we will flatten the 5 burial stars. Chapter 2263, Cough, aren't you too arrogant? 1. What did you say? The words of the fire element martial warrior caused re-expressions on the family heads' faces to turn unpleasant. H. The fire universe stage martial warrior sneered, it seems like you are determined to resist to the end. Has my Black Skull Universe pirate group been dormant for so long that people have forgotten our methods? As he spoke, he waved his hand, and the warships in the void immediately aimed their cannons at the 5 burial stars. Without any hesitation, those warships began to glow, entering the charging phase. Buzz, buzz, buzz. A frightening buzzing sound echoed, and each rune cannon on those warships lit up, revealing the unparalleled power of the planet annihilation cannons. There were at least hundreds, if not thousands, of warships densely spread across the void. Most of them were beyond the cosmos level, with many even reaching the universe and heaven levels. At this moment, all those planet annihilation cannons were pointed directly at the 5 burial stars, sending shivers down everyone's spine. Terrifying waves of primal force spread in all directions, like a looming shadow of death covering the sky above the 5 burial stars. Damn it! The heads of the 5 major families turned pale, completely unprepared for the opponent's swift and ruthless attack, leaving them with no chance to react. Hungzang Chuan's face darkened. Suddenly, he reached out towards the distant black-horned youth. The power of the world emanated from him, forming an illusory giant hand that descended from the void like an overwhelming force. This spectacle was extremely magnificent, especially for those on the 5 burial stars, witnessing a colossal hand crashing down as if it intended to destroy the entire planet. The black-horned youth's arrogance dissipated, revealing a hint of shock and anger. He never expected that the head of the Hungzang family, as a family elder of the 5 burials, would attack him so shamelessly. The Fire Heaven Stage martial warrior was furious. World power surged, transforming into the power of rules. Chains of fiery runes manifested in the void, entwining around the colossal hand like a lock. The enormous hand instantly froze in the void, its surface burning with raging flames but unable to press down any further. The black-horned youth sighed in relief, his face showing a mix of pale green and white. He gritted his teeth, never having experienced such humiliation before. Yun Zongying, Gui Zhangfeng, and the others were eager to take action, but the appearance of another universe stage figure on the opposing side made them extremely cautious. Hungzang Mo, Gui Zongyang, go and capture him, don't let him escape. Hungzang Chuan made a decisive decision, his gaze fixed firmly on the Fire Universe Stage martial warrior, his voice cold and detached. Hungzang Chuan, you are, after all, a universe stage existence, yet you attack a cosmos stage warrior, the Fire Element Universe Stage martial warrior angrily retorted. And so what? Hungzang Chuan responded indifferently, dealing with you universe pirates, there's no need to be reasonable. Very well. The Fire Element martial warrior, furious, uttered these 2 words and his voice thundered, attack. Boom. 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 With those words, the fully charged planet annihilation cannons erupted. Brilliant beams of light shot out from the warships, landing squarely on the protective barrier of the 5 burial stars. A tremendous roar echoed, as the terrifying energy pounded against the defensive barrier, causing it to vibrate violently. All of you, work together to maintain the barrier, and block their attack. Hungzang Chuan, his face filled with shock and anger, issued orders that reverberated across the 5 burial stars. Inside the 5 burial stars, countless rune masters and warriors appeared throughout the planet, pouring a massive amount of source stones into the formation, sustaining its operation. At this moment, the entire 5 burial stars plunged into chaos. Many people emerged from their dwellings, gazing up at the starry sky. The infamous reputation of the Black Skull Universe Pirate Group was known to everyone in the Phantom Drift territorial domain, where practically no one was unaware of their notoriety. If the 5 burial stars were to fall under the attack of the Black Skull Universe Pirate Group, there would be no good outcome for the people on it. At best, they would become slaves, and at worst, they would be killed outright. Therefore, at this moment, the warriors on the 5 burial stars were united in their hatred, rushing towards the starry sky. If the formation were to be broken, they would undoubtedly have to face a battle. The Fire Element martial warrior of the Black Skull Universe Pirate Group swept his gaze across them and sneered, struggling in vain. Your young master will sooner or later fall into our hands. Hungzang Chuan said indifferently, it was just a misunderstanding, but since you insisted on pushing it this far, don't blame us for being impolite. A misunderstanding? The Universe Stage martial warrior snorted, you captured our young master as a slave, and this is a misunderstanding. If he had revealed his identity earlier, we from the 5 burial stars wouldn't have treated him harshly. Hung Zhang Chuan replied. Ridiculous. If he had disclosed his identity early on, he would probably have already died at your hands. The universe stage martial warrior mocked. Hung Zhang Chuan didn't know what to say. This indeed aligned with their style of doing things. If they had known the identity of the other party earlier, they probably would have silently taken him out, not giving him a chance to escape. From the moment they captured him, this matter couldn't have been resolved peacefully. He could only blame the young master of the Black Skull Universe pirates for being foolish. Why did he run away from home and get captured by the 5 burial stars? Ever since the black-horned young man escaped, his subordinates had reported everything to them. They also knew that no one could be blamed for this. The young master of the Black Skull Universe pirate group was too reckless. He robbed the transport spacecraft of the 5 burial stars and ended up being captured by several Heaven Stage martial warriors from the 5 burials family, becoming a slave. Who could he blame? Chapter 2264. Cough, aren't you too arrogant? 2. Hes just a Cosmos Stage martial warrior. I don't care who he is. Hes tempting fate by provoking the 5 burial stars. Yunzang Ying said coldly. Well, the 5 burial stars is indeed quite defiant. The universe stage martial warrior glanced at him and said, at this point, saying anything is useless. If we don't make you pay a price today, we won't be able to answer to our leader. You're too naive. Do you think you can destroy the 5 burial stars with just these people? Yizang Bai sneered. These people are naturally not enough, but who told you that we only have these people? The fire element martial warrior. Yizang Bai and the others turned serious. The other party couldn't be lying to them. Could it be that the Black Skull Universe pirate group had an eternal stage martial warrior present? Don't waste time talking with them. Capture their young master first, and they won't be able to act arrogantly anymore, Guizang Feng said. Just relying on those few youngsters from your families? The fire element martial warrior shook his head disdainfully and said, not that I look down on them, but you have no idea about the talent of our young master. Hes our leader's favorite son. His talent is beyond your imagination. Heng Zhangchuan, Yizang Bai, and the others frowned and looked down. At this point, they were restrained by the opposing universe stage martial warriors, so they couldn't make a move. They could only rely on their children. Below, Hung Zhang Mo, Guizang Yang, and the others had already surrounded the black-horned young man when they heard Hung Zhang Chuan's order. They stared at him with fierce eyes. Do you think you can stop me with just the few of you? The black-horned young man had a slight contemptuous smile, scanning around with a disdainful gaze. Hung Zhang Mo and the others were the talents of the 5 major families. How could they endure such contempt? Their faces looked unsightly. Do you want to join in? The black-horned young man looked towards Wang Ting in the distance and said indifferently, Me. Wang Ting pointed to his nose. He was prepared to just watch the excitement unfold, and unexpectedly, this guy directed his attention towards him. This was truly seeking trouble. He shook his head. However, he didn't intend to take action. He wanted to see if these 5 talents could deal with their opponent. Seeing that Wang Ting seemed to have no intention of joining the fight, the black-horned young man felt somewhat surprised but didn't care. His gaze turned towards Hung Zhang Mo and the others. Come on, attack together, you bunch of ants. Damn it. Hung Zhang Mo and the others were furious. Finally, they no longer hesitated and all attacked, rushing towards the black-horned young man. Each of them activated their family physique, displaying powerful martial techniques with astonishing force. Hung Zhang Mo executed the Hung Zhang Fist. The 5th rank Earth domain merged into the fist imprint and gave off a dazzling yellow glow. Guizang Yang held his battle blade and the power of fire enveloped his body. He released his 5th rank domain too and terrifying flame blade waves swept through the void. Yizang Xinyuo used a palm technique, and her domain halfway through the 4th rank. Although not as powerful as the previous 2 talents, it was still remarkable. Coupled with her physique and martial techniques, she unleashed an incredibly powerful force. With each palm strike, cracks appeared in the void, containing the power of the domain to suppress the black-horned young man. In mid-air, Shozong Tsayun moved swiftly, reaching an extreme speed. Holding a war sword, golden sword radiance swept out, forming a curtain of sword rain, filled with killing intent. This seemingly gentle woman was anything but kind-hearted. At this moment, her attacks were ruthless, leaving Wang Ting speechless. There was one more person, Yunzang Xiao. Wang Ting was surprised by this talent from the Yunzang family. His domain had reached the 6th rank, and he executed his family's Yunzang physique and cloud burial sword skill. Sword radiance soared into the sky, forming a curtain of blue sword lights that converged and charged toward the black-horned young man. Get lost. Facing the attacks of the 5 talents, the black-horned young man suddenly roared angrily. A tremendously powerful aura erupted from his body, and the 2 horns on his head burst into a dazzling tricolor light of red, yellow, and purple. Wang Ting squinted his eyes, lightly uttered a sound of surprise, and couldn't help but look at those horns. On them appeared intricate and mysterious patterns, emerging with the burst of the tricolor light. These patterns spread across his face, covering it entirely in no time, revealing a strange aura. Boom! Simultaneously, an overwhelmingly powerful wave burst from his body, sweeping in all directions. A scornful smile appeared on the black-horned young man's face. With a step, he disappeared from his original position and reappeared in front of Hungzang Mo, delivering a powerful punch. Splurt! Hungzang Mo's fist seal instantly disintegrated. The other party's fist landed on his chest. His eyes bulged, and blood spurted from his mouth. He was in disbelief as he flew backward. What? Guizhang Yang and the others were shocked. With just one blow, Hungzang Mo was defeated. It was almost unbelievable. The black-horned young man's gaze swept, and without any hesitation, he charged towards Guizhang Yang, who had come from another direction. Sweeping his battle blade, a terrifying blade radiance rose into the sky, colliding with Guizhang Yang's blade radiance. Boom! In an instant, Guizhang Yang's blade radiance shattered under his horrified gaze, and the blade energy swept over, landing on his chest. Splat! Guizhang Yang was instantly severely injured, coughing up blood incessantly. At this moment, Yizhang Xinyuo and Shozong Kaiyun's attacks had arrived. Golden sword radiance and emerald green palm imprints descended with the power of their respective domains. The black-horned young man showed no fear. Suddenly, a dazzling purple light burst from his body, accompanied by a resounding roar. Thunderbolts surged out from the void, confronting the attacks of the 2 women. Lightning element, martial warrior. The 2 women's expressions changed slightly as their attacks collided with the lightning force. Boom! The golden blade radiance and emerald green palm imprints were enveloped by lightning, and they gradually eroded. It seemed that the black-horned young man's proficiency in the lightning force element was even more formidable than the other 2 forces. Ha ha ha, I'll have you 2 as my maids. The black-horned young man laughed wildly, throwing a punch. The fist seal covered the 2 women without any mercy. Oh no! The 2 women tried to retreat, but it was too late. They were directly hit by the fist seal, blood flowing from their mouths as they were sent flying. Kill! Yunzang Xiao turned grim when he saw the 4 of them getting heavily injured in the blink of an eye. He unleashed his 6th-level water domain, integrating it into the torrent of sword radiance. Boom! The black-horned young man raised his head, wielding his war blade as lightning descended upon it. This war blade turned out to be a rare and exceptional mix-type weapon. As the lightning gathered, a terrifying purple blade radiance surged into the sky, carrying an imposing aura that made it impossible to look directly at. Slash! A shout came out of the young man's mouth. His war blade instantly cleaved down, the blade radiance soaring into the air, seemingly carrying celestial might, making it impossible to gaze directly upon. Boom! The clash between their attacks created a deadlock in mid-air. Shatter! Veins popped on the black-horned young man's forehead. His long hair danced wildly as he pressed down fiercely with his war blade, causing thunderbolts to once again descend from the sky, instantly boosting the power of the blade radiance. Bang! The sword radiance torrent collapsed with a thunderous roar. Countless sword radiance fragments were scattered by the thunderous blade, dispersing in all directions. The lightning blade cleaved through the sword radiance torrent, slashing ferociously towards Yunzang Xiao. Yunzang Xiao's pupils contracted sharply, his face pale. Without much thought, he released his speed to the extreme, swiftly retreating. Unfortunately, he still couldn't match the speed of the lightning blade, and could only watch as the blade descended, growing larger in his eyes. For the first time, the distinguished member of the 5 major families experienced a sense of despair. Boom! The blade radiance finally fell upon him, and the power of lightning instantly enveloped him. Yunzang Xiao was heavily injured, and on the verge of death. He plummeted towards the ground, covered in wounds, with only a breath of life remaining. The faces of Hongzang Mo and the others turned extremely grim. They had never expected such an outcome. Even when the 5 talents joined forces, they couldn't match the strength of this black-horned young man. His power exceeded their expectations. Ha ha ha! In the void, the fire element martial warrior burst into laughter, addressing Hongzang Chuan and the others. I told you, the elites of your family could never be a match for the young master. Hongzang Chuan, Yunzang Ying, and the other heads of the 5 major families were furious. A bunch of trash. The black-horned young man spat contemptuously, sneering, who can stop me from the 5 burial stars? All of you are nothing but rubbish. Cough, are you being too arrogant? A helpless cough echoed from not far away. Chapter 2265, only worth half a 5 burial token. The black-horned young man was reveling in his triumphant laughter when he suddenly heard a helpless voice nearby. He turned his head to see Wang Ting. He squinted and stared intently at Wang Ting. This young man was on par with him. However, with the activation of his talent, Wang Ting couldn't be his opponent. They're all dealt with. Do you want to try? The black-horned young man sneered arrogantly. Hanju. Hongzang Mo and the others immediately looked at Wang Ting. Brother Han, don't fight with him. This person is very strong. He's not a normal Cosmos stage martial warrior, Yizang Xinyuo said hurriedly. She knew that Wang Ting had excellent strength, but she didn't believe he was a match for the black-horned young man. The recent encounter provided her with a clear understanding of the black-horned young man's strength. He was powerful. The black-horned young man's strength was just too overwhelming, surpassing all expectations. Even their combined efforts were not a match for him, let alone Wang Ting alone. Thief spoken, you heard them. If you willingly submit to me, my previous words still count, the black-horned young man said. Just wait a moment. Wang Ting completely ignored what he said, making a gesture for him to wait. The black-horned young man's expression stiffened slightly, feeling a sense of being ignored. Yizang Xinyuo and the others were also stunned, unsure of what Wang Ting was planning. In such a serious and perilous situation, he wanted him to wait. Was he playing? Wang Ting looked up at the sky and used his divine sonic wave pronunciation skill to transmit his voice through the protective light screen. Let me ask. If I help you to catch this fellow, will you still give me the 5 burial token? Everyone. Hongzang Chuan and the others were surprised by Wang Ting's sudden communication, especially for the sake of the 5 burial token. They found it somewhat perplexing. What the hell was this? In such a crucial moment, this guy was concerned about the 5 burial token. Initially, when they wanted to give it to him, he declined, and now he was actively seeking it. What kind of logic was this? The black-horned young man's expression turned unpleasant. Was this guy considering him as a bargaining chip for the 5 burial token? Hongzang Chuan and the others exchanged glances with one another and said, the 5 burial token is not so easily given away. This black-horned young man is worth at most half a piece of the 5 burial token. Really? The dignified heir of the Black Skull Universe Pirates is only worth half a piece of the 5 burial token? Wang Ting was dumbfounded. The black-horned young man's face stiffened, and his gaze turned cold as he looked at Hongzang Chuan and the others. Despite their status as universe stage martial warriors, he showed no fear. At this moment, he only felt a deep sense of humiliation and an intensified hatred towards the 5 burial stars. He was only worth half a piece of the 5 burial token. Wang Ting cast a strange look at the black-horned young man, making him even more infuriated. "Kid, you're asking for death." The black-horned young man's voice was filled with killing intent. "Don't rush. Let me finish negotiating, and then we can fight. Otherwise, there's no benefit, and the fight would be pointless." Wang Ting gestured with his hand. The black-horned young man, "YHR, alright then, it's a deal. 111 capture this person, and you'll give me half a piece of the 5 burial token." Wang Ting looked at Hung Zhangchuan and the others, stating his condition. Hung Zhangchuan just casually mentioned it, as they had never given away half a piece of the 5 burial token before. They hadn't expected this guy to take it seriously. Now, he was genuinely unsure how to respond. "Fine." Yunzang Ying's gaze swept over the heavily injured Yunzang Xiao. His face darkened, and he said, "As long as you capture the other party, we'll give you half a piece of the 5 burial token." "Great, I can rest assured with your words." Wang Ting smiled and shifted his gaze back to the black-horned young man. "Looks like we'll have to fight. Half a piece of 5 burial token is worth a fight." The black-horned young man's facial muscles twitched. To hell with fighting with him. Was this fellow fighting with him for half a 5 burial token? Some distance away, Hung Zhang Mo, Guizang Yang, and the others didn't know what to say. They felt utterly powerless and speechless. "Die." The black-horned young man couldn't bear it anymore. He released his force and it surged towards Wang Ting. "How fierce." Wang Ting grinned, unleashing a powerful surge of force in response. Boom. The two forces collided violently, creating a deafening and buzzing resonance. "You have 3 forces, but only your poison force has reached the peak of the cosmos stage. The other 2 forces are at the 6th level of the cosmos stage. How dare you boast in front of me?" sneered the black-horned young man. Up to this point, Wang Ting had only utilized the poison, fire, and earth forces. His poison force had reached the 9th level cosmos stage while his fire force and earth force were at the 6th level. There was indeed a certain gap between him and his opponent. "Is that so?" Wang Ting smiled faintly, not bothered by it. If he were to unleash all of his forces, it would probably terrify the other party. However, the current situation did not allow for that. Using 3 types of forces was already pushing it. He's a triple-element martial warrior. Hung Zhang Mo and the others were surprised. They hadn't noticed during Wang Ting's previous confrontation with the black-horned young man, but now, seeing him use 3 forces, they were taken aback. "It seems that Han Zhu's martial talent is quite impressive," Yizong Xinyuo and Shozong Tsayun exclaimed in surprise. Far away, Tracy remained vigilant, always ready to act. After all, her life was now closely tied to Wang Ting's, and she wouldn't allow any harm to befall him. However, considering the opponent's strength, she was a bit speechless. If this guy unleashed his full power, the black-horned young man probably wouldn't stand a chance against him after all. Even a heaven-stage martial warrior like her lost to him. Not many cosmos-stage martial warriors could withstand his terrifying strength. Not even the talented ones. Yet, he insisted on concealing his identity and strength for some reason. Wang Ting and the black-horned young man exchanged no words, colliding in the sky with their weapons. The clash of the sword and spear echoed, creating sparks that sprayed in all directions. The black-horned young man swung his war blade, summoning endless lightning from the void. The lightning illuminated the night sky as if it were broad daylight, unleashing a terrifying killing intent. He was immensely powerful and possessed astonishing natural talents, but he also exhibited formidable physical strength that almost overwhelmed all cosmos-stage martial warriors of the same rank. No wonder Hung Zhang Mo and the others couldn't withstand him. The black-horned young man exuded an overwhelming presence, wielding his war blade as he approached. The terror of his blade's radiance made onlookers at a distance pale. Many cosmos-stage martial warriors and even weaker heaven-stage martial warriors couldn't help but step back, their faces filled with fear. Too powerful. The strength of this black-horned young man was truly terrifying. If they were to face him, defeat would likely be their only outcome. Wang Ting's gaze slightly narrowed. He held his war spear diagonally towards the ground, calmly facing the terrifying lightning power emanating from the opponent's blade. He was completely undaunted. He was never afraid of playing with lightning. At this moment, the heaven-earth calamity lightning in his body was getting restless. The lightning spirit wanted to come out too. Unfortunately, they were all suppressed by him. At this moment, a grey-white flame erupted from his body, engulfing him as he confronted the lightning power from the opponent's blade. Boom! The clash of flames and lightning continued, weaving a tapestry of collision, and within the brilliance emerged the unique force of their respective domains colliding. The radiance reached its pinnacle, illuminating the void and completely enveloping Wang Ting and the black-horned young man. Many onlookers couldn't discern the details of their battle due to the overwhelming brilliance. Clang, clang, clang. The metallic collision sounds echoed incessantly. While Wang Ting had never used a battle spear as a weapon before, he appeared increasingly skilled as the battle unfolded. After all, he had mastered various battle spear techniques, and his proficiency had reached a high level, making it no difficult task for him to wield such techniques. Outside the void, Hengzang Chuan, Yunzang Ying, and the other family heads were astounded. Han Zhu's strength is unexpectedly outstanding, Yizang Bai said using voice transmission. I initially thought he was just a knowledgeable universe explorer. I didn't expect him to possess such talent. I may have underestimated him. Hengzang Chuan remarked. If he can defeat that black-horned young man, it would be a good thing for us. Yunzang Ying said. Ha ha ha, exchanging half a 5 burial token for a young master of the Black Skull Universe Bandit Group is quite a good deal. Hengzang Chuan laughed heartily. Han Zhu is quite bold. He knows that the other party is the young master of the Black Skull Universe Pirates, but he still dares to attack him, Yizang Bai said. A wanderer of the cosmic expanse like him is certainly not an ordinary person. Hengzang Chuan shook his head with a sense of admiration. Considering this, the difference between Hengzang Mo and the others and him is quite significant. Yunzang Ying, Shouzang Liao, and the others nodded in agreement. Initially, they all thought that their family's prodigies were exceptionally outstanding. However, upon comparison, they suddenly found that their prodigies seemed a bit lacking. On the opposing side, the universe stage martial warrior of the Black Skull Universe Pirate furrowed his brow. He had initially believed that no one could threaten their young master. Yet, unexpectedly, a youth had emerged capable of contending with their young master, which was truly surprising. Who is this person? The fire element martial warrior asked. I don't know. There's no information about this person on the 5 burial stars. It seems like an outsider. Someone immediately responded. When they arrived here, they had thoroughly investigated 5 burial stars. If he was a prodigy, it was impossible to conceal information from their scrutiny. Useless. The universe stage martial warrior scoffed. His gaze pierced through the formation's light curtain, landing on the ongoing battle below. How much longer until the formation is shattered? The fire element universe stage martial warrior asked. At least another 10 minutes. The person behind responded once more. Accelerate the charging speed at all costs. We must break through the defensive formation of the 5 burial stars, regardless of the expense. The universe stage martial warrior ordered coldly. He knew that time couldn't be wasted. Otherwise, even if their young master defeated the black-haired youth, they would still be surrounded and captured by other warriors from 5 burial stars. If the young master was captured, they would undoubtedly fall into a passive situation. Yes. The people behind him did not hesitate at all, immediately following orders and commanding the warships to accelerate their charging. The planet annihilation cannons erupted, and successive attacks landed on the light curtain of the formation. The formation's light curtain trembled more intensely, seemingly on the verge of shattering at any moment. The terrifying force ripples swept in all directions. The nearby mountain peaks explode under such a fearsome impact. Endless shockwaves cut through the shattered stones, instilling fear and trembling. The structures below, even with defensive formations activated, were reduced to ruins. Many martial warriors retreated, with several injured by the shockwaves, not daring to approach the affected area. Die! The black-horned youth roared, forcefully pressing down with his battle blade as an endless surge of lightning power erupted. Wang Ting's gaze remained indifferent, the battle spear in his hand steadfast and unyielding. Regardless of how the black-horned youth released his force, it couldn't shake him. How is this possible? The black-horned youth's face was filled with incredulity. Nothing is impossible. Wang Ting's voice was calm, his eyes overlooking everything, utterly disregarding the young master of the Black Skull Universe pirate. If it weren't for the unsuitability to use his full strength, this guy wouldn't even be able to withstand a single blow. Roar! In the next moment, the flame python roared again, opening its huge mouth to fiercely bite down on the lightning blade radiance. Crack! A crisp sound resounded as the lightning blade radiance was bitten into pieces by the python. Countless cracks rapidly spread. The black-horned youth's pupils contracted sharply, shaken to the core. Never before had any martial warrior of the same level been able to crush his true martial lightning blade. But one seemed to have appeared in front of him. Boom! Before he could comprehend it fully, the terrifying lightning blade radiance shattered instantly. The flame python roared and lunged towards him. Hungzang Mo, Guizang Yang, and the others were flabbergasted. They clenched their fists uncontrollably. Yizang Xinyuo and Shozong Kaiyun's eyes were shimmering. They stared at the battle in front of them without blinking. They were a little nervous. Hungzang Chuan and the other 5 family heads had pleased expressions on their faces. Young Master, the Fire Element Universe stage martial warrior of the Black Skull Universe pirates was shocked. He considered stepping in to rescue, but the current situation made it impossible to intervene. Damn it! The black-horned youth roared, unleashing his full force and meeting the flame python head-on. He had no time to retreat. Boom! In an instant, the flame python pounced, transforming into endless flames, completely engulfing the black-horned youth. A scorching atmosphere instantly permeated the surroundings, the flames burning fiercely, distorting the space around them. The radiant glow of the flames illuminated the night sky. Is it over? Yizang Xinyuo swallowed a spit, unable to resist asking. So powerful. Shozong Tsayun was full of shock, unable to contain her astonishment. I never thought he would be this strong. Yeah, who would have expected that a universe explorer would possess such formidable strength? Yizang Xinyuo exclaimed. Hungzang Mo, Guizang Yang, and the others were flabbergasted. Then, they revealed a hint of unwillingness. Why was this fellow so powerful? They found it hard to accept. Ha ha ha, Hungzang Chuan laughed heartily, looking at the universe stage figure in front of him. Your young master's strength is nothing special. Rascal. The martial warrior's anger burned within, glaring at Hungzang Chuan. The world's illusion behind him reappeared, ready to suppress Hungzang Chuan and the others. However, at this moment, his expression changed slightly. He calmed down and looked towards the flames below. The expressions of Hungzang Chuan and the others changed slightly, all gazing down at the flames. This isn't right. Yizang Bai spoke with a slightly serious tone. Just as the words fell, the flames below suddenly surged violently, and a figure appeared amidst the roiling flames. Hungzang Chuan and the others were also surprised, looking at the figure emerging from the flames. Under his attack, the opponent unexpectedly held on. Quite interesting. Boom! At the next moment, the flames erupted, and a black figure, entwined with tricolored radiance, stepped out from within. Surprisingly, it was the same black-horned youth from before. However, at this moment, his appearance had undergone significant changes. His body had expanded, growing to an imposing and robust height of at least 5 to 6 meters. Every muscle on his body was well-defined, exuding an immense sense of oppression. Even the pair of horns on his head had become thicker. The tricolored radiance above them was even more dazzling, forming intricate patterns on his face, revealing an eerie quality. What is this? Wang Ting's pupils suddenly contracted. For some reason, he seemed to perceive a hint of the sheephorn devil race from the opponent's body. If earlier, the horns on the opponent's head gave him a vague resemblance to the sheephorn devil race, now, with the transformed appearance, the similarity became even more pronounced. No matter the aura or the incredibly robust physique and horns, they were all leaning towards the appearance of the sheephorn devil race. However, the opponent's face still retained a human appearance, and there were no bat-like wings on the back, indicating some differences. What's the relationship between the young master of the Black Skull Universe pirates and the sheephorn devil race? Wang Teng turned serious. He was puzzled. What's this? Hung Chuan and the others squinted. Their gazes landed on the black-horned young man and they were astounded. Even with their experience, they had never seen such a peculiar transformation. Ha ha ha, this is our young master's racial talent. I didn't expect that boy to awaken our young master's dormant racial talent. It seems one have to thank him. The universe stage martial warrior couldn't help but burst into laughter. Racial talent. Hung Chuan and the others wore grim expressions. What kind of race was this black-horned youth? Why did he possess such a terrifying racial talent? Moreover, the fact that he awakened at such a crucial moment when they least expected it, truly frustrated them. At this moment, they couldn't help but think about the captain of the Black Skull Universe pirates. The man was incredibly mysterious, and the rumors about him were grim. Anyone who had seen him take action had met their demise. So, despite his notorious reputation, very few people knew what race the captain of the Black Skull Universe pirates belonged to or what formidable talents he possessed. Otherwise, the 5 burial stars wouldn't have captured their young master without realizing the consequences. What kind of race is your captain? Guizhang Feng took a deep breath and asked in a deep voice. No comment. The universe stage martial warrior sneered. You have no qualifications to know. The race of our captain is noble beyond your imagination. In front of our captain, the 5 burial stars can be destroyed with a flick of his finger. If our captain hadn't had other matters preventing him from coming, your 5 burial stars would have been obliterated long ago. Saying this, he looked down again, coldly smiling. That kid is as good as dead now. He triggered the young master's racial talent completely. He is doomed. Chapter 2267, Red Flame Demon Lotus. 1. Hung Chuan and the others turned grim. The confidence of the Fire Element Universe stage martial warrior made them nervous. Would Han Zhu be able to defeat the awakened young master of the Black Skull Universe pirates? At this moment, even they were having some doubts. The transformation of the opponent's young master was extremely mysterious and formidable, and they could sense its extraordinary nature. Although Han Zhu had just fallen short of defeating the opponent, it seemed that he hadn't inflicted significant injuries. Now, the opponent had awakened his innate talent. Everything could turn around. They thought that Wang Ting had already used his full strength. If Wang Ting's previous display of power was compared to the current state of the Black Skull Universe pirate's young master, Wang Ting did seem to be somewhat lacking. Unfortunately, almost no one knew that Wang Ting hadn't used his full strength, except for Tracy. In the sky, the sea of flames spread, and the black-horned youth walked out, surrounded by a 3-colored radiance. The flames around him couldn't get close, parting to both sides. Far away, Yizhang Xinyuo and others were horrified, and their pupils suddenly contracted. The previous black-horned youth had already defeated them miserably. Now, it seemed that some terrifying changes had occurred in him, causing them to feel fear. Even though they were at a considerable distance, they had not moved far from the battlefield between the two, and they instantly sensed the overwhelming pressure descending upon them. It felt as if tens of thousands of mountains were pressing down on them, making it difficult for them to breathe. You've successfully angered me. The black-horned youth slowly raised his head, a face covered with 3-colored patterns exuding an icy coldness. The gaze in his eyes flickered with black light, appearing extremely eerie. How successful? Wang Teng asked. The black-horned youth noticeably hesitated. I told you that you've angered me, and you're asking how successful it was. Do you feel satisfied when you angered me? Yizhang Xinyuo and the others were stunned. Their minds went blank and they didn't manage to react in time. Even Hung Chuan and the others felt the corners of their lips twitching. Wasn't this fellow a little cheeky? The Fire Element Universe stage martial warrior was speechless. Why did their young master encounter such a bizarre opponent? Never mind, it seems like you can't answer that. Wang Ting waved his hand, stroking his chin, and said, after the transformation, your muscles developed, but your brain is not working well. I've seen many transformations like yours, and they usually end up like this. Don't feel sad. You'll get used to being silly sooner or later. Veins popped on the black-horned youth's forehead, and he could hardly contain his rage. He was on the verge of exploding. What the heck? Get used to being silly? Wait, when did he become silly? Izang Xinyuo and the others in the distance finally reacted, but they were even more speechless. How come they didn't realize that Brother Han had such excellent skills in banter? Trace's expression turned strange. From the start, she felt that Wang Ting didn't seem like a good person, and now it seemed even less so. Boom! The black-horned youth finally couldn't take it anymore. He erupted with a resounding roar, transforming into a tri-colored stream of light without further ado, charging straight at Wang Ting. Kill! A thunderous shout echoed from his mouth. In the next moment, the black-horned youth appeared in front of Wang Ting, his body tall and robust, casting a shadow that almost enveloped Wang Ting. At this moment, he didn't use any weapons. Instead, he clenched his fists and fiercely struck down. He intended to directly use his physical strength to pummel Wang Ting to death, venting the anger in his heart. This guy was too infuriating, and he couldn't bear it. Heh! Wang Ting's eyes narrowed slightly, unable to suppress a laugh. However, he quickly put on a shocked expression, raising his arms to block. Bang! The tremendous force struck his arms, and Wang Ting was sent flying uncontrollably. Swoosh! The black-horned youth closely pursued, launching another attack on Wang Ting. His physical strength at this moment had reached a terrifying level, where an ordinary Cosmos-stage martial warrior would be unable to withstand even a single punch. Boom! 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 Terrifying rumbles echoed in the sky. From an outsider's perspective, it seemed like Wang Ting was completely suppressed, falling into a disadvantageous position, with the opponent overwhelmingly dominating the fight. The black-horned youth was surrounded by a tri-colored aura, with red, yellow, and purple radiance transforming into meteor-like streaks, falling from the sky and ruthlessly bombarding Wang Ting. This scene made the muscles twitch on the faces of the surrounding warriors, and some found it difficult to look directly at. Trace's expression turned grim. She almost couldn't control herself and wanted to act. Was he not the opponent of that black-horned youth? It's over. Hanju is no match at all. Izang Xinyuo's face changed drastically, showing a hint of despair in his eyes. How did that black-horned youth become so strong? Hungzang Mo and the others felt shocked and incredulous. This transformation was enormous. Ha ha ha, the Fire Element Universe stage martial warrior laughed happily. The planet annihilation cannons continued their relentless assault on the star-concealing array. As time passed, the array's radiance grew dimmer, and the 5 planets seemed like fragile boats swaying in a storm, on the verge of being engulfed by the terrifying force. This made Hungzang Chuan and the others' expressions worse. Could that guy do it? Boom! In the sky, a figure was sent flying, and it was none other than Wang Ting. The black-horned youth hovered in the sky, his towering figure exuding disdain as he coldly looked at Wang Ting in the distance. He was extremely confident, believing that with his talent, Wang Ting was absolutely powerless to resist. The battle seemed to have come to an end. Chapter 2268, Red Flame Demon Lotus. 2, however, the expected scene did not unfold as he envisioned. The radiance dispersed in the distance, revealing Wang Teng's figure. Contrary to expectations, the not-so-powerful physique of the opponent showed no signs of cracking, and there was no blood at the corners of his mouth. It seemed that the recent exchange had not caused any harm. The black-horned youth's pupils contracted, and he couldn't help but feel shaken. What's going on? Izang Xinyuo and the others were also quite surprised. In the previous battle, Hanju appeared to be completely suppressed, with no ability to fight back. However, in the end, he seemed unharmed. Could it be? Shozong Kaiyun's heart skipped a beat. She got excited. He didn't use his full strength. Hung Mo and the others stared intently at the ongoing battle, not saying much. However, their hearts couldn't calm down. The black-horned youth became extraordinarily powerful after his transformation, but Hanju seemed to be not much weaker. How powerful was this fellow? Hung Chuan and the others saw a glimmer of hope. Now, only Hanju could change the unfavorable situation for the 5 burial stars. The smile on the Fire Element Universe stage martial warrior's face disappeared gradually. He stared coldly at Wang Teng. This was an anomaly. You are not injured. The black-horned youth stared at Wang Ting without blinking, his face gloomy. Are you disappointed? Angry? Wang Ting patted his clothes with a smile, asking, did one not meet your expectations? Did you just not use your full strength? The black-horned youth scrutinized Wang Ting with a gaze of inspection, trying to see through him but in vain. This made him extremely uncomfortable, and he asked coldly, who are you? Didn't one say it already? I'm just a wandering universe explorer. Wang Ting said casually. Then he looked up at the light curtain, shook his head, and said, this formation is about to collapse. Let's stop chatting here. I should get serious now. Otherwise, that half-5 burial token will be out of my reach. Everyone was speechless. So, you weren't serious just now? Now that the array is about to collapse, you're ready to get serious, and it's all for the sake of the 5 burial token. If the situation were appropriate, Yizhang Xinyuo and the others would want to criticize Wang Teng. He was too shameless. Wang Teng didn't think that much. At this moment, his gaze focused, seemingly about to unleash his power. The black-horned youth's gaze became serious, and he felt cautious. Was this guy going to use his full strength? Yizhang Xinyuo and the others were filled with anticipation. Regardless of the complaints, they had to admit that Hanju's strength was indeed formidable. If anyone could defeat the black-horned youth, it would be him. Just wait a moment, let me put on some battle armor, Wang Teng suddenly said. Everyone was silent. The black-horned young man was speechless. He was extremely impatient with this bastard. Wang Ting took a battle armor out of his space ring without caring. Suddenly, a crimson light flashed across his body, and a red battle armor covered him entirely. Even his head was encased in the helmet of the armor, with only a pair of eyes made of red crystals emitting a crimson light. As the battle armor appeared, extreme heat emanated from it, spreading outwards and causing the surrounding space to distort. Universe-level battle armor. The black-horned young man squinted. It's a universe-level battle armor. Hung Mo and the others widened their eyes in surprise. They were green with envy. A Cosmos Stage martial warrior possessed a universe-level battle armor. He must be wealthy. Outside the void, Hung Chuan and the others, as well as the Fire Element Universe Stage martial warrior, all showed a hint of astonishment. They were not unfamiliar with universe-level battle armor, but even they would need to pay a significant price to obtain one. Now, a universe-level battle armor appeared on a Cosmos Stage martial warrior. This was unbelievable. If the situation allowed, they all wanted to snatch it from Wang Teng. The black-horned youth snorted, just a universe-level battle armor. Do you think you can stop me with this? As he spoke, a purple battle armor suddenly covered the entire body of the black-horned youth. The armor was made of a special memory-extending metal, allowing it to completely cover his enlarged body seamlessly. Even his pair of horns on his head were covered by the armor, and the helmet fit perfectly, leaving no gaps. On the surface of the battle armor, there were faint traces of lightning power, forming small arcs of lightning, giving it an exceptionally strange appearance. At this moment, with the appearance of the purple battle armor on him, the black-horned youth appeared even more ferocious and robust, yet also exuded a sense of majesty. Onlookers from afar couldn't help but show a look of envy as both individuals were clad in universe-level battle armor. So what if you have money? Especially the lightning element battle armor. It was undoubtedly more valuable, something that ordinary people couldn't afford. Only individuals with a status like the Black Skull Universe Pirate's young master could possess such a piece. Boom. The black-horned youth didn't give Wang Ting another chance for idle talk. Wearing the battle armor, he instantly transformed into a purple stream of light, charging forward like a thunderous behemoth, ruthlessly colliding with Wang Teng. Clang! The collision of the two battle armors sent sparks of fire and lightning shooting out, accompanied by the resonating sound of metal echoing in the sky. Universe-level battle armors were indestructible, impervious to the power of a universe-stage warrior, but when both individuals were clad in universe-level battle armors, they could naturally inflict damage upon each other. Chapter 2269, Red Flame Demon Lotus. 3. Also, battle armor wasn't omnipotent. Terrifying power could still cause shockwaves inside the armor. Once the force exceeded the limit, the armor remained intact, but the person within it was already dead. Wang Teng wore re-battle armor not to withstand re-opponent's attacks but to conceal some of his changes. Demon Lotus Poison Body. In an instant, Wang Teng activated the Demon Lotus Poison Body. A bizarre black demonic lotus appeared at his brow, and a strange force of poison erupted from within him, manifesting outside re-battle armor. This is Constellation Poison Force. Many people were astounded. Seeing Wang Teng wearing a fire element battle armor, they thought he was going to use some fire element trump card battle technique. Everyone knew that battle armor had a certain amplification effect on the corresponding element battle techniques. Conversely, it has a certain weakening effect on martial techniques of other elements. For instance, the poison force Wang Teng was using would be obstructed by the fire element battle armor. So, when everyone saw Wang Teng's actions, they were somewhat bewildered. However, Wang Teng didn't think much about it. At this moment, he extended his hand, and the constellation poison force condensed in a special way on his palm, gradually transforming into a bizarre black lotus flower rotating slowly. Hengzang Mo, Yizang Xinyuo, and the others looked at the devilish black lotus flower and felt a tinge of fear. Even Hengzang Chuan, Yizang Bai, and the others sensed something extraordinary. They were astounded. The Fire Element Universe stage martial warrior frowned. He had a bad feeling. Everyone could feel it, let alone the black-horned youth. His gaze was fixed on the black lotus flower, sensing that he seemed to be enveloped in an aura of death. Damn it! The black-horned youth's expression turned grim. The threat of impending death made him furious, and he roared to the heavens. Roar! Suddenly, his pair of curved horns burst with an extreme three-color radiance. This three-color radiance soared into the sky, forming a column of red, yellow, and purple light. It was dazzling. The columns of light converged, shaping into a three-color light sphere, emanating terrifying ripples. What is that? Everyone was astonished. Wang Teng's martial technique surprised them, and the black-horned youth's technique was equally confusing. Both of them were not playing by the rules. They abandoned their previous martial techniques, wielding no weapons. They seemed to have activated their innate abilities. It seems that this Hanju possesses some kind of poison talent, Hengzang Chuan remarked. Yes, that black lotus flower should be his talent. Guizang Feng, Yizang Bai, and the others nodded thoughtfully. With their keen insight, the crucial aspects were evident. The opponent's battle technique seems to be a talent too, Shozong Liao said with a solemn expression. And it's a fusion of three talents. The situation doesn't look good, Yunzang Ying added with a grave tone. The attacks from both sides emitted terrifying fluctuations, and the sky seemed to be enveloped in an extremely heavy atmosphere, freezing everything in place. The eerie black lotus flower floated up from Wang Teng's palm and landed above his head, expanding rapidly against the wind. Black radiance emanated from Re-Lotus, turning it into a black sun, completely enveloping Re-Flower. The three-color light sphere above the black-horned youth's head also rapidly expanded, soon resembling a massive three-color star. Wang Teng and the black-horned youth locked eyes. Beneath their helmets, a faint smile appeared on both of their faces. Suddenly, Wang Teng lifted a hand, and the power of his domain, the laws of origin, continuously poured into the black lotus flower. Roar! The black-horned youth seemed to sense something as he erupted in another roar. The radiant light from his curved horns intensified, and peculiar forces flowed into the three-color light sphere above his head. The attacks from both sides became increasingly terrifying, leaving those nearby, including Hungzang Mo and others, alarmed and astonished to the extreme. Retreat. Izang Xinyuo couldn't care anymore. She grabbed Shou Zongtsayun and swiftly retreated backward. The expressions of Hungzang Mo, Guizang Yang, and the others changed. They immediately retreated and didn't dare to stay any closer. This attack was too terrifying, and no one knew what might happen upon collision. Even Trace's expression changed slightly as she silently withdrew. These heirs of major powers were truly monstrous, and she had no worries about them. Simultaneously, her heart burned with increasing fervor. If she could obtain such a powerful martial technique, her strength would surely experience a significant leap. That guy had promised her. He wouldn't go back on his word. Wang Ting's black lotus flower and the black-horned youth's 3 light spheres seemed to reach their limits. This made everyone even more nervous, as the decisive moment had arrived. Die. A fierce grin appeared on the black-horned youth's face. He raised one hand above his head and waved it forward, turning the 3 light spheres into a stream of light that fiercely collided with Wang Teng. Go. 11 Beneath the armor, Wang Teng remained calm. With a sweep of his large hand, the black lotus flower gently floated forward. The abyssal hell devil lotus. This was the first time Wang Teng fully utilized this move. With his constellation poison force now at its peak in the cosmos stage, its eruption brought about a terrifying power. At this moment, the black lotus flower floated forward. Initially, its speed wasn't fast, but in an instant, it turned into a black stream of light, disappearing directly from its original position. Chapter 2270, Red Flame Demon Lotus. 4. Boom. The next moment, a terrifying rumble echoed. The black lotus flower appeared and collided completely with the 3-color light sphere, erupting into a brilliant light that radiated in all directions, much like a solar explosion. Invisible ripples swept out, nearly extending tens of thousands of kilometers, destroying everything. The area had turned into a complete ruin, leaving Lengzang Chuan and others wide-eyed. The cost to restore this place afterward would likely be exorbitant. Wang Ting kept his gaze on the front. The power of that 3-color light sphere surprised him. What kind of physique did this black-horned youth possess to unleash such a formidable talent attack? The black-horned youth on the opposite side felt an overwhelming pressure, and his expression changed repeatedly. Explode. The black-horned youth's face twisted into a grimace, and his eyes filled with murderous intent. He let out a resounding shout. Boom. The 3-color light sphere exploded, and a terrifying 3-color light soared into the sky. People were shocked, retreating once again with anxious expressions. Could the black lotus flower withstand such a terrifying attack? Wang Ting squinted his eyes, showing no hesitation as he instantly unleashed the full power of the black lotus flower. A black radiance illuminated the surroundings. The 3-color light continually eroded the radiance of the black lotus flower, making cracking sounds as cracks appeared in the surrounding radiance of the black lotus flower. Ha ha ha, you're finished. The black-horned youth saw this scene and burst into mad laughter. Is that so? A flat and indifferent voice came from Wang Ting. It seemed to carry a hint of mockery. Being stubborn to your death. The black-horned youth snorted. The one who's going to die is you. Wang Ting shook his head, pointing forward with a disdainful tone. Boom. Amidst the black radiance, the extraordinarily eerie black lotus flower slowly unfolded. The outer 6 petals of the lotus, which were initially present, now expanded to reveal an additional 6 petals. Mysterious runes adorned the petals, emanating an incredibly potent light, the power of laws. In an instant, the black lotus flower broke through the 3-color radiance, surging out explosively, suppressing everything in its path. How is this possible? The black-horned youth was utterly astonished, his face filled with incredulity. Roar. Lai roared, unleashing all his forces, attempting to resist the suppression of the black lotus flower. Bang! Unfortunately, his force defense proved as fragile as paper beneath the black lotus flower. It crumbled and shattered instantly. The black lotus flower appeared above the black-horned youth's head, descending with overpowering force. No! Ah! The black-horned youth screamed, completely engulfed by the radiant light emitted by the black lotus flower. Kid, how dare you! The Fire Element Universe stage martial warrior outside the void finally couldn't restrain his anger, intending to intervene. I advise you not to act recklessly. Lengzang Chuan stood in front of him, sneering. Get out of my way! The phantom of the world behind the Fire Element Universe stage martial warrior surged forward, attempting to push Hengzang Chuan aside. Hengzang Chuan snorted, and a world phantom emerged behind him as well. It was a world filled with yellow sand, heavy and stable. The clash of the world forces between the two sides created violent collisions, causing the void to tremble, and deep, dark space rifts appeared. However, the Fire Element Universe stage martial warrior was completely unable to shake Lengzang Chuan's Earth Element world phantom, remaining blocked in the void, infuriated beyond words. Yizhang Xinyuo and the others were incredibly shocked, gazing with wide eyes at the distant battlefield. It was almost unbelievable that these powers were released by two Cosmos stage martial warriors. This was horrifying. The strength of these two individuals has reached an unbelievable level, leaving everyone in disbelief. But what was even more terrifying was that figure. All eyes were involuntarily drawn to the silhouette clad in crimson armor beneath the blazing black radiance. Their gazes trembled intensely, and their hearts struggled to regain composure. Bathed in the intense black light, the crimson armor on his body appeared striking and piercing. The red flame demon lotus. For some reason, these four words simultaneously flashed through the minds of everyone present. Before long, as the terrifying waves of primal forces gradually subsided, a figure descended from the sky. Astonishingly, it was the black-horned youth clad in the crimson armor. Boom! The ground was instantly cratered, forming a seemingly bottomless pit. Spiderweb-like cracks spread in all directions, and countless dust particles floated into the air. There was dead silence. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.